welcome. Let's make sure we have sound tonight. Happy Wednesday to everyone. And if you're on the replay, well, I don't know what day it is, but happy whatever day to you, too. It's good to see everyone. We're going to have a pretty interesting show tonight, and we'll be getting right into it. I want to say hello to everybody first, but let's do a little sound check. All right, looks like we're good to go. So let me get this chat going and say hello to everyone, and we'll be getting into it. All right, who we got in here? What's up, everybody? Get your butt in the chat if you're in the lurker crew. Go ahead and join the chat. It's nice in the chat. Don't you want to be in the chat? All right, Monday. What's up, Monday? All right, Ben Aaron, Dawn Steele. What's up, Dawn Steele? Uh, it's a new day. Oh yeah, hit the like while you're coming in, please. File on in, file on in. Choose a seat and hit the like. Okay. Artist known, L'Oreal. What's up? All right, who's your daddy? Good evening. And we got Ricardo. Ricardo's here. Ben Aaron, what up, Ben? Birdie81. We got Lena and Jessica. What's up, Jessica? And hey, Digital. Digital in here. Amy with the flowers. What's up, Amy? Hey, thanks for the super chat. JT. What's up, JT? Thank you, Amy, for the flowers. And what's up, Digital? We got Siren Cindy, Jenny33, Tracy Fleetwood, V, Dennis McKean. What's up, Dennis? All right, Dennis in the house. And we got Tracy Thornton, Scales of Injustice. Oh, what's up, Christina? Christina, you didn't email me. Judith Galloway, Possum Friend, Bonnie. We got Heavy Metal Rehab, Kaleida Hope. What's up, Kate U? We got Stephanie, Hiawatha, Tracy Fleetwood, Bobby Smith, Spicy Cappy, True Crime Fanatic, Stella. All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? True Crime with B, Misunderstood, Oleg Cat, Tracy Thornton. I might have said hi already. What's up, Court of Public Opinion? Good evening to you, sir. All right, Nancy Drew 101. Kayla, what's up, sweetheart? Kayla in the house with the puppies. What's up? All right, we got Interspace. We got JT with the super sticker. Thank you, JT. Lisa. Bonnie. I might have said hi, Bonnie. Shay Watson. What's up, Shay? Long time no see. Long time no see. All right, let's talk about this juror. Yeah, and I'll get into that. Let me finish this. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. What's up, brown eyed girl, gal, girl? Suzanne, what's up? All right. Kit Kat, what's up, Kit Kat? Penny, what's up, Penny? Shotgun Susie, what up? All right, what's up, Malibu? Oh, Malibu, your namesake. No, Malibu, tell me you're not in Malibu. Tracy Thornton, it's a new day with the $5 super chat. Hey, Prof, what's up? It's a new day. Everybody go subscribe to It's a New Day here. It's a New Day. Subscribe to that channel, please. Uh, you won't regret it. Put her channel link, put a link to her channel down in there. All right. Blessed Boho Creations. Barbie 3000. Kit Kat, Carla Ann. What's up, Carla Ann? Oh, you've been here just quiet? All right, digital. I'm in Tennessee. Well, don't tell anybody. Troll Farm will, they'll put your house on the internet in 5 minutes because that's what they do. That's what they do. Who else we got in here? Rebecca Ann. Rebecca Ann representing. She was shouting out the Chomo Meister last night. What's up, Rebecca Ann? Thank you for having my back there. Missouri Mima of 9. Trial Junkie. Penny Pona. Gretchen Allen. What's up, Gretchen? All right. So here's the deal. I'd be lying to you if I say that I wanted to do tonight's show. I don't want to do tonight's show because actually my intention was not to do a show on this juror, because you may or may not remember that I posted um, a community post. So let's see. Do you guys remember that on the small channel? I made a community post in which I took highlights from the juror. Well, I believe it was on the small channel. Maybe it wasn't. Let me see. Oh, maybe it was on the big channel. Who knows? On one of the damn channels, I put highlights from the juror. Okay. Oh, yeah, that was 3 days ago. 3 days ago, I put 2 community posts up with all the highlights from the juror's transcript. But a bunch of you have been requesting, okay, that I do this. So I'll do it, okay? A bunch of you have requested, some sent me emails. I got some comments in the comment section. And everybody says, Prof, please cover the juror. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? Why not? Why not? Because this would be a good opportunity to focus on the chat anyway. We could focus on the live chat. So I'll try to today to both talk about what this juror had to say and also include the live chat. Hey, what's going on with my signal here? All right. What do we have? Thank you, Kayla. Yeah, did I confuse us? Yeah, it was a few days ago. I guess it was on this main channel, but what's up, sweet dude? Train wreck juror. Thank you. Good, good explanation. Yeah, good description there. She's a train wreck. And that's the reason for the thumbnail. Okay, the thumbnail. No, the thumbnail is not the juror, but the thumbnail is another train wreck, and we'll be discussing who that is at a future point. But the thumbnail is another, I guess, goofball. Okay, so that is what it is. I basically tried to take like a goofy. I just wanted to put a goofy woman up. Okay. So that's what we got. That's what we got. Yeah, yeah. Hot mess. Another hot mess. So it's just it's my imagination of what this juror probably looks like. Basically a hot mess. What's up, Corner Piece? What's up, Peaches 81? You guys coming in late. It's in the drafts. No, send it. All right. All right, everybody. So, but here's the deal, okay? Because I thought about this. I'm not going to be mean. We shouldn't be mean to the jurors, okay? We shouldn't be mean. So, we're not going to be mean, but we're going to be forthright, okay? And so, we'll go through it and we'll be nice. And hopefully we can also be honest, and it's going to be hard to be honest and nice at the same time, because it will be, but hopefully it doesn't sting too much for this person. Okay. So anyway, we'll get into it shortly, but I will say this. I've noticed I've got quite a different take than most people. Okay, most people. Most of the criticism I've seen online about this juror, um, it's not my criticisms. My criticisms, I'll give you at the end. They're a little different than most people, but what I found appalling, um, there was a bunch that I found appalling. But it's funny because a lot of the things that I saw or I feel, they're not the same as a lot of what I've seen other people commenting on. So that's pretty interesting. So I guess you get a somewhat different take tonight. All right. Everyone coming in, thank you for being here. Let's see, we have people coming into the chat. Okay, we got Bobby Smith, Mandy, Heather Brown, Ninja Warrior Assassin. I don't think I can be nice about this insanity. I know we're trying to be nice though, because we don't want to be upset and prevent other jurors from stepping forward. You see, JT, Heavy Metal Rehab. Okay, I see your comments. All right, Steve Z Stubbs. What's up, Steve? Welcome in. We're just getting started. We haven't even started yet. Um, Commentator Root. Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm saying is that it's not for nothing. I thought I wasn't going to do this because I don't really have a big desire to do this commentary, but I guess what the value will be in it is that we can talk in the chat, and then I can give you my unique take on it. Um, so I'm happy that she spoke out, but it's also aggravating at the same time. She doesn't understand the criminal justice system at all. Thank you. Yeah, that's my bottom line, basically. I'm happy that she spoke out. I'm kind of curious, though, to be honest with you. Why choose Murder Sheet? How did that whole connection happen? So, what I'm curious about is, hmm, what are the odds that Murder Sheet got the first juror? That's kind of that's kind of suspect. It's suspicious. Did the juror choose Murder Sheet? Did the juror just reach out to someone else and then that someone else ushered her to Murder Sheet? Like, how did that all work out? It's kind of smells. Remember that Murder Sheet is always at the bottom of every problem. Murder Sheet has colluded with the state at every turn. Remember, they leaked the Keegan Klein. They've leaked everything else. They're always behind all the leaks and problems. Okay, they've caused a lot of problems. So, um, and they were at this trial. I made a short about it. They were at this trial, uh, definitely colluding with Doug Carter and Aspen. I mean, his Doug's wife. Uh, don't forget that. I made a short. If you look on my channel, you'll see a short where you can clearly see Murder Sheet colluding with Doug Carter out in front of the courthouse. Best friends, best friends. Okay. What's up, Goddess? What's up, Marianne Foster, Mary Martin, Anti Them, uh, Elizabeth Park. All right, everyone coming in. I just love you so much. Thank you for coming on in. Teresa F, what up? Um, no, no, exactly. Don't be mean to her either, because it's not her fault. Now, now backing up, okay, backing up, looking in reverse here. Remember, the jury did not have any of the presentation of the Delphi murders. All the jury had was a railroading shoved down their throat of the guilt of Richard Allen. Okay, so keep that in mind. And tonight, I guess the further we get into it, you're going to see what I mean. You really will, because it's appalling. It really is. And I think that's something we all have to keep in mind. We know that some of the Delphi murders, okay, case. These jurors don't. And like we've said immediately after this verdict, we said they're going to be learning. Okay, they're going to be learning. And as they learn the facts, we would like them to come and talk to us. but I don't think it's going to happen because everyone's afraid. Remember, I've also made shows about the culture of fear in Carroll County and Delphi. Okay, this culture of fear is going to keep most of the jurors from stepping forward. Okay. Um, Elizabeth K. What's up? She seemed to unable to understand basic instruction, yet she felt Razi was condescending. I do agree he's not warm and fuzzy, but it should not affect your decision making, nor should cute outfits. Yeah, yeah. Well, there's some things about that. Okay, and we'll get into it later. But like I said, I don't like how she was a fangirl. Like here's a problem with politics now. It's all about, you know, I got a big like woman's power thing out of her. Okay, girl power. Oh, Judge Go, she's educated and she's in a powerful position. So I just loved her, and I love seeing women in powerful positions. You see, shit like that will prejudice you in an important uh, decision, just like it obviously did. Also, there's sort of this 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 reticence she had towards Razi is probably also part of the same feminist ideology where she's like she doesn't like seeing a matter of fact direct man, so she took in Razi as some sort of condescending or insulting or maybe patriarchy uh, um, perpetuating individual or vibe rather than taking in the facts about Richard Allen and about the weakness and strength of the case and all of that. So it just smells. Okay. It really smells. And it's sad to see. But like I said, that we're not here to beat up on her or to be mean, but we'll be commenting on that as we go. So that's just our little introduction. What's up, BBM? Okay. Um, Mino Dino says Holman made a recommendation. Are you kidding me? Please tell me you're kidding me. Mino Dino. Do you mean Holman? Please tell me that's just you're just being funny. All right. Please tell me you're just being funny. Okay. All right. Smash the like button. Thank you for saying that. Murder shits is part of the prosecution. Yes, it is. Of course. It's jurors like this. Yes, exactly. Okay. Kate Eleanor, what up, Kate? All right. What else we got here? You say she sounded super. Nah, I don't know. I'm not getting into that. Not getting into that. Elizabeth K, what up? Okay. Jay Rabbit, what up? Catherine, what up? Joy Smith, what up? Okay. Saying hello to everybody coming in. Thank you so much for joining the live chat. We want you here. We want you here. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point, and I will be getting to that because that's part of my conclusion about her, right? That she felt she had to find someone guilty. You know, that's the impression I got was like there was this feeling that we have to find someone guilty and he's our only option. And we'll be getting into that because that's a result of the corruption of the state. And you'll be learning that. All right. Kate Eleanor, Ricardo 2. That little girl was really embarrassing. Yeah, she is. I mean, the overall takeaway is she's embarrassing. She seems to be not understanding that the life of a man was in her hands, kind of clueless that it's like literally the life of this man was in your hands, and and you're all ditzy, like, oh, no big deal. I think the judge was a powerful woman, and I like that. Like, I don't know, kind of like a libtard, basically libtard, right? Libtard. She's a retard liberal that allows her political ideologies to cloud her vision, her thinking, and prejudice her very badly here in making these decisions. And it was horrible because letting these politics get in the way of reality was bad. Okay. Um, so not powerful. I mean, I'm not happy about that, but you'll see in the transcript here. What's up, Ricardo? So throw out reason. Yeah, she threw out reason. Powerful, confident woman does not have to hate men or be a biatch. Powerful, confident woman is at peace with themselves. Yes, but that's something only powerful, confident women know, which means mature, grown, adult women. You know. All right. What's up, woman doing? What's up, Melon? You guys coming in? What's up, Big JD? All right. What's up? I think with DC retiring, new governor, there's a shift in the atmosphere. Perfect. Well, I hope it works out. I've been messaging that governor, the new governor, and saying, listen, you got to look into Delphi and Indiana State Police. And I suggest everyone please write Governor Braun and let him know that he needs to look into Delphi and the Indiana State Police. Please do it. Sounds like she was much more worried about what the attorneys were wearing. Well, I'll tell you what I thought about the insanity of the concept that you started with 8 guilty, 4 not guilty. How do you go from there? How do you flip those 4 people? It just seems impossible. It seems impossible. Like there's we'll get into it. We'll get into it. I don't want to have this discussion before we read it. All right. Zoe Hamilton, what's up? Welcome in. All right. Do we know if any other jurors are going to talk? Well, we don't, but we sure would love to. Any juror, if you were a juror, please come and talk to us. I promise you we'll be nice to you. Guarantee it. We will be nice to you. We'll welcome you in. We would love to discuss. I would love to discuss, even with this juror. If you're watching, young lady, we enjoyed your conversation with Murder Sheet, and I would ask you, please come and talk to me. I promise to be nice to you. I'm not going to hurt you with questions, okay? But we would love to discuss and make you aware of some things. Maybe you don't know some of the things that have gone on that you should know. All right. And she said this was the most exciting thing she's ever done in her life. Young and naive, sheltered. Good evening, Gene Jackson. All right. Brenda Smith, what up? She was childlike. Yes, like I said, she was just a goofy chick, But hey, like I said, we're not being mean. We're not going to be mean. Crystal Blue, what's up, Crystal Blue? Okay. I know it's taking a while to get started, but we'll get started. I promise you, we will. Politics should be no part of a murder trial. Yeah, yeah. Someone's life was in your hands, and you put your politics before his life. I mean, come on. Too young and no idea what true crime is. They said it couldn't be anyone else. Ricky had to be bridge guy. No thinking. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't want to get to that yet, JT, but basically the answer is no. I think that that's what a lot of the commentators were hinting at, but no, it's no. I mean, listen, you can't make something be what you want it to be because it benefits you. That's a golden rule of life as you grow up. As you grow older, you realize you can't just make things be what you want them to be because it's beneficial at that moment. So, all right. The day that they unleashed this case on the world, I said, "There's no way Bridge Guy did this alone. He whisked them to someone in a car. I believe it more today. Those girls weren't killed in the woods." Seriously, doubt this girl has any original political beliefs or. We're not going to be mean to her though. If I had any inkling of not beyond reasonable doubt, I would stand my ground. I don't understand how innocent went over guilt. That's what I'm saying. Now say thank you, Stephanie. I don't understand how you get four people who felt innocent to flip. Now, maybe they were ready to go home. Maybe they felt it's a no-win game, that they're going to keep them there an extra week, 5 more days of deliberations. Let's just go ahead and give in and go home. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was, but that's why we need more jurors to come on and talk to us. What's up, Mark? All right. What's up, Big JD? He posted, oh, you mean Governor Braun? Posted several things on Twitter today, and I commented on all of them, talking Carroll County, and I looked at a lot of the responses, and I would say 90% of them are about Delphi. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Good job. I mean, good job, y'all. Message that governor. Totally speculating, but wondering if Judge Gold didn't direct jurors towards murder sheet when she debriefed him. Good point. Good point, Kimmel. Thank you for coming into the chat. Good point. I'd like to know. You see, why don't they say? Why don't they say? Okay. All right. What's up, Mama Bear 2222? Hey, Prof and everyone. Happy you're doing this. What's up, Santana Treto? Yeah, at least talk to the defense, please. Come on, jury. We're not mad at you. We're not mad at you. We just want you to understand, because the thing is that how do you victim blame? You can't blame the jury. You really can't. That's victim blaming. The jury was a victim of Judge Francis Gull, or like Rick calls her, Frigid Franny. The jury was victimized by Frigid Franny. Okay. All right. Today, the governor was talking about accountability, transparency, getting rid of DEI, and directly getting rid of prosecutors that are a problem. Swear to God. Perfect. Perfect. Well, he needs to take a look at ISP, and he needs to take a look at the Delphi murders investigation. And that's what I specifically told him more than once. All right. Murder Sheet was hired from day one for this case we believe that an entire PR firm was hired for this case. I want to know why and how many of the same LE players got promoted after the Snyder case, where his rights were violated beyond belief. No accountability. No. Here it seems that you get promoted when you do the wrong thing. You see how they propped up Judge Gull and Jerry Holman right before this trial. Do you think that was by accident? Come on now, don't be stupid. Right? They promoted Holman, and they promoted Gull to prop them up before this case, to give them credibility, a backing, et cetera, et cetera. Jer, real close to murder shits. Okay. The brain is not considered fully developed until age 25. Prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision making, is the last to develop. Perhaps 25 would be a good minimum age for jury duty. Good point there. I agree. And I think you have politicians coming into power now who would probably agree with that and do something about it. I mean, you got to be 21 years old to drink. Come on, man. 25 sounds good. All right, y'all. So let me get busy here. All right, Golden. What's up, Golden? I'm writing that down. You can't make things like you want to your benefit, right? Why would you? I mean, that's the hallmark of immaturity, right? She was working with what she had. The state made a powerful impression on her. They were becoming friendly with jurors, barbecuing with the bailiffs. Yep, and that's true. And I had someone out there watching it all go down. All right. Of course, I'm aware of Jamie No's case. Don't you watch my channel? Come on, I made several posts about it. And I'm aware that Doug Carter spoke after his sentencing. And, which was nice is his daughter was just arrested as part of a plea deal where she's going to go serve 9 months or something like that. Yeah, I agree with that. No enhancements. The enhancements were manipulated. It's not fair. But let me ask you this. Why don't we have have you ever thought about that? Really? Consider this. The bridge guy video that was released to the public 7 years ago or 5. Why don't we have the original? What's wrong with releasing the original? I mean, have you thought about that? What would be wrong with releasing the original video from Liberty's phone at this point? I mean, they've already released the enhanced 5 years ago, right? Before trial even began, before even Richard Allen was even arrested. Do you think the new superintendent will be better than Doug? Well, let's hope so. But I was kind of disturbed that his name is almost Anthony Schatz. It's Anthony Scott. But when I first saw his name, I almost hit the floor. I thought, Anthony Schatz. I hope he's better, but we'll find out, right? He has to prove himself now. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. So I'm almost caught up with you guys. Hopefully, I am hopeful though. Hopefully, with this governor out and with Doug Carter out, hopefully that you have to think like that was a huge wall of obstruction. So hopefully, with them out of the way, some dam will break. Now, some things will get rolling, but we'll find out. Yeah, isn't it funny though that Doug hasn't come and told the truth, right? He hasn't come and talked about the tentacles. He hasn't explained everything. He hasn't told the fascinating story. The community has not been shocked. All of the things that were promised for years by gaslighting Doug Carter never happened. Never happened. It was all a promise, right? It was all a false promise. I swear, baby. I swear, baby. Just sleep with me, and I'm gonna buy you a new car. I'll give you the world. I'll never cheat. He told you what you wanted to hear. It's my opinion. All right. They don't show us the original so they can keep their damn narrative. Yeah. All right. What's up? What's up? Nobody. Nothing. I subscribe to It's a New Day. Awesome. Good job. All right, y'all. So here we go. Here we go. Let's get started. I delay too long. It's going to take forever. Um, Carter's tentacles will be sliming the wrong side of history for many years to come. All right. I'm going to have to stop looking at the chat so I can get started. I feel it was strange the original was never released. Why was it enhanced? To me, it's a form of tampering with evidence. If you never see the raw footage, and if you had both, you could compare. That's what I'm saying at this point. I mean, that's what I'm so determined right now to see. And trust me, I've begged those investigators, we need to see the original bridge guy footage. Stop fucking around. We need to see it. But this judge is not letting any evidence out. Nope, not yet. I mean, it's just delay, 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 delay. Yeah, empty promises. I promise, baby. I promise, baby. Just come on here. Just come on over here and yeah, yeah, I'm gonna marry you. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna buy you some nice shit. Yeah, I'm gonna get you that whatever. Mhm. All right. So here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna get you that Gucci. I'm gonna marry you. Yeah, I'm gonna pay your phone bill. Whatever it is, it was all talk. Okay, it was all talk. All right. So what we're looking at here, here we go. And as I said, look, we're gonna be nice, right? We're gonna be nice. Okay. So here we go. We'll get through this quickly. All right, y'all. So Oh man, I just don't even want to do it. I can't lie. I so don't want to do this that it's I'm hesitant to even start. All right. You hear my little guy playing his little toy piano? All right. So, the very first thing with the postcard, you have to call and just answer random stupid questions. And then at that point, you have no idea. And then after that, we got a packet. And that was maybe a month after the postcard. And at this point, I'm wondering what it is. And then it probably has, I think, 50 questions. At one point, like halfway through, it did mention, do you know anything about Richard Allen versus the state of Indiana? And at that point, I really didn't know anything. I wouldn't call myself an avid true crime person. I'll do like documentaries in the evenings a lot, but with that, I watched so many, like the name Richard Allen did not ring a bell of any sort, even if I like had seen anything in the past. And then a little bit more through the packet, it talked about during jury selection when they mentioned all of the different names of people that were going to testify. It essentially had all of those names. And they asked if you knew anything about any of these people. And at that point, I remembered Liberty German was such a specific name that rang a little bit of a bell. And I was like, oh, yeah, I heard she's one of the, girls that were murdered. And that's all I really knew. And then by the very last question, got me the most was, do you know anything about Odinism? And then all of those different things. So, I mean, nothing at this point. So I was wondering, like, oh, there must be something crazy with this case going on. And that's all I really knew. I expected, I guess, to find out more once the trial happened. Now, let me stop there. She shouldn't have been a juror. I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll start with this. She should not have been a juror because, like heavy metal rehab here, I'm calling BS on that. I'm calling BS. I'll do like documentaries in the evenings a lot. Okay. I wouldn't call myself an avid true crime person. I would say you're saying both of those things because they're both not true. Okay. So you are a true crime person. You do the true crime in the evenings a lot. You knew the name Liberty German. You knew Odinism. You should not have been on the jury. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. But you shouldn't have been on the jury, young lady, ma'am. You shouldn't have been on the jury. All right. I'm curious. Can you talk us through the day when you were sort of come in and this whole chaotic process is going and they're bringing you guys through the system and putting you through the jury selection process? Okay. So, we sent the packet in. Yeah, you answered the question in the way that you knew you would be selected. Okay. Once I sent the packet in, I didn't hear a thing for a while. No, you heard something quickly. It's just you were anticipating it. So it took forever. All right. I just kind of thought like they went with other people, whatever. So I'm not the best with checking my mail, so it might have been sent out earlier, but from what I saw, but I saw the paper show up Thursday or Friday and to come in Monday. So I was like, oh my gosh. Then once I saw that, I just for some reason knew I was going to get picked. I can't explain it. I just knew. No, you wanted to. You wanted to. And it's sad. It's sad because it's like a man's life was in your hands. All right. And when I found out of the sequester, I actually had a family member tell me because they sent us something. Did I forget to turn a page? They sent us something not to, watch media or anything like that. So I wasn't watching the news or anything. I guess it came out that we're going to be sequestered. And I was like, what does that entail? What are you, 5 years old? So I Google it and it says, yeah, pretty much zipped off when you get chosen at jury selection. So I thought going in that they're like, well, you'll be able to, they'll be able to take home and they'll give you a little bit to pack your things or whatever. So I can just take an hour to pack. It takes me I can't just take an hour to pack. It takes me a long time and I have a million bags. So I was like, I'm packing now. So I packed everything I needed before I even went in on Monday because I had a feeling and I just wanted to be prepared. What's interesting is that there was a self-proclaimed psychic in the pool of prospective jurors. Shockingly, he did not get called. What are you saying, dumbass? Are you saying that psychics should not be on juries because they're unreliable people? I mean, you are truly a stupid woman, okay? And I'll say that about you. You're a stupid woman. You're an evil woman. You smell, according to a couple of my friends who were at trial and you passed by, uh, and you're a nasty, disgusting woman. And I believe psychics probably should be on juries because they're empathetic for the most part. Shockingly, he did not get called. But it sounds like this juror made a very apt prediction herself. We asked this juror if she had heard from other jurors about the gentleman who said he had psychic powers. He. Laugh, laugh, young lady, laugh. And on your deathbed, you won't be laughing. All right, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, we all laugh, says the juror. Now, we know if we need to get out of jury duty what to say. Gosh, so you're there, you kind of have a feeling you're going to get picked? Oh, trust me, she didn't want to get out of it. She didn't want to get out of jury duty. She wanted to be on that jury. She definitely wanted. She was hurting to get on that jury. That's why she lied on the questionnaire. All right. Kind of backing up. They bring you and you've got to like check in and you sit at the first floor and all these jurors who watch the video and they'll explain jury duty. And then you give a number and McClellan did the whole I do remember the whole snowman question thing about, if you came home and saw a puddle on the ground, what do you think? And well, if you came home and saw coal and a puddle on the ground, what do you think? And then there was a carrot on the ground, that whole thing. Yeah, we remember it. We remember it, young lady. We were not impressed. And then dumbasses. Oh, yeah. It took me a really long time to get it, to be honest. It must be. Yeah, I didn't catch on. I didn't. And I was so stressed. And I think a lot of us are just so like, didn't know what to expect. And yeah, I never doing it before either. And then once we learned that this is like a huge case that kind of adds something to it, it's kind of, we really don't really know. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, yeah. So you really wanted to be on the jury because it was a big case and you were hurting, you were dying to be on the jury, and you pretended not to be into true crime. You pretended not to know about the Delphi murders or Odinism. I see. I see. Okay. Okay. This juror got to witness some of the voir dire tactics from the various attorneys. Prospective jurors would crowd into one side of the gallery and had the opportunity to observe the lawyers as they questioned each panel. The moment that stood out in her mind focused on Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McClelland, who handled all the prosecution rounds, and lead defense lawyer Brad Ruzzy, who had some memorable moments throughout the jury selection process. I thought it was funny where Ruzzy came in with explaining reasonable doubt. Oh, you thought it was funny. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was just all about the different types of evidence, maybe. But the little cards that he held up, like, let me do it for you. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, like we all started on the wrong foot. Yeah. Okay, so what you're admitting, look, let me remove this. So be clear what this girl is admitting to. She's admitting that during jury selection, she went into the jury, participated in jury selection, knowing that she was starting off hating the defense attorney. Okay? So she went into this with an attitude to start with. She started on the wrong foot. Not even first day of trial. During jury selection, she decides she doesn't like Razi. So she should have disqualified herself. All right. And what do you make of Rosie? And then what do you make of McClelland? Okay. Mhm. Yeah, I thought McClelland made the nervousest kind of feel comfortable. Oh, she's got a boner. So she's got a boner for McClelland. And you said it best when you guys were talking about it. He really just kind of gets on your level and makes you feel comfortable, which is, uh, I think, is just realizing that it's something really stressful for like a normal person that just has no idea what's going to happen, which really gives you an element of trust, especially when you don't know anyone. Well, it's the Coke. It's the Coke. Okay. Rosie, on the other hand, very opposite of that. I think kind of almost felt like he played on the nervousness. Like it almost felt like it was an interrogation. No, because he's a serious look. No, because he's a serious man and probably had some caffeine. And so you need to learn what serious is because you took a smiling douchebag and took that as comforting, and you took a penetrating intellect and a serious nature, no nonsense, and you took that as a challenging, like the epitome of immaturity. Yeah,
Very different between the two for sure.
Um,
Yeah, it's so interesting, the different approaches. And I do wonder if there's any strategy to it. I mean, Kevo would know better. And throughout this whole process, I'm very much like trying to play the devil's advocate.
no, you're not. That's something you say because you like to hear yourself say it. All right. And again, this is just from my experience. But people did express to me, negative feelings about the defense. Yeah, from jury selection on. Yeah. And I was always telling them, thinking, like, really more so just thinking, because I didn't really want to tell anyone anything. It's really weird, you're just secluded and you're all by yourself. You don't really know anyone and you don't know. It's like Survivor almost. We joke a lot of times. Like we're going to get voted off the island. But I was always playing devil's advocate, like, it's their job. They're supposed to, like, not necessarily be mean to people, but make them say the wrong thing and mess them up. And, they're supposed to be the bad cop, essentially. So you see the level of maturity you're dealing with? You see the level of maturity you're dealing with here? Not very much. Okay. Not very much. You're dealing with a game. See, you see, she's made a game. She's in a game. It's called Survivor. It's called I was really telling them, but not really telling, just thinking, because it's you see, it's a game. It's entertainment. Like I said, she packed before jury selection. She was deceptive on the jury questionnaire. She miraculously somehow got picked, and she comes in playing a real life game show or movie. She's in Survivor, Delphi style, and she's already decided that she hates Rozzy and she's in love. She's wet for McClelland. You see, this is not the way things are supposed to go here. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Let's see what I got here. Where are we? I think it was more like general things of, like, we would just laugh about a lot, like mannerisms of different people. So you were mocking. Okay. You were basically mocking. You were mocking. Okay. Mannerisms of different people, mocking. And on both sides, really on that. Being hard on people. And another thing, like, a lot of people didn't like was the interrogation videos. Okay. Now we're going to start to get into some things. So let's start to pay attention. And I'm sure we'll get into that for sure when we talk about deliberations and things. But like I said, it went both ways for sure of things we were unhappy with. But we did feel the defense a lot of times. Okay, so see, she talks like a 12-year-old. Okay. We did feel the defense a lot of times. You mean you agreed with or was sympathetic to? Yes. What's kind of going on? What's going on kind of a thing? Yeah. Like, is this normal? Like, this seems pretty crazy. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Because it was absolutely unhinged. And Richard Allen was absolutely tortured. There were a lot of absolutely unhinged things, like the Holman interrogation, all this shit that you saw. And you think, how'd you say it? But we did feel the defense a lot of times, like, what's going on? Like, is this normal? Like, this seems crazy. Yeah, I would say so. What's going on? Is this normal? This seems crazy. Yeah, but guess what? You voted guilty anyway.
uh, 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 Like sitting in the gallery, the jurors also got to study the mannerisms of the attorneys firsthand. Only they have a better view from the jury box. Rosie would do like a leaning forward gesture all the time. Like I'm doing it right now. But when you're staring at people all day, you take in a lot of like, mannerisms, but like body language and things like that. What other ones did you notice? I'm curious. Oh my gosh. Luttrell, or I say it wrong too. You're not the only one. Appreciate that, but he would do the hands on the chest and like palms open out. I don't even know how to explain it in words. Like palms up, kind of close to his chest, like as if like you have a small, like you're cupping your hands, like you have water in it or something. He would like do it all the time. I wish I could remember more of those little things, like things I was like, I won't forget. Okay. Did you notice any of that from Richard Allen himself as he was sort of in the courtroom? So the eyes kind of thing, that's something I noticed from even like jury selection. Like, wow, his eyes are very, I don't know what the word to use, different, I guess, surprising. Uh, yeah. How about he had been in solitary for a year and then some? Don't you think that would do something to you? Like, you got to be kidding me. You must be kidding me. That would do something to a person. Maybe they'll look shell shocked. Maybe they'll have a weird look in their eyes. I mean, he's not going to have breakfast at the cafe on the corner and fucking and sipping his coffee and having toast and jam and enjoying his day and watching the beautiful birds and butterflies and shit. He's coming out of solitary, just having undergone a major psychotic break. Like, okay. But that to me is sometimes like people, like he has some weird eyes. I don't think that makes him, a murderer. So I would kind of refrain from looking over there, I guess, because anytime we made eye contact, I would just look away really fast. And a couple other jurors, they would talk about how he's always staring like at us. And so they would start staring back and like not looking away until he did. Me personally, I would not really look a whole lot of times. You see? You see the games? Like I said, she's in a game of Survivor. She's playing a real life game. She took this up as entertainment by forcing herself to be chosen as a juror, even though she was probably disqualified by being familiar with the case and into true crime and having knowledge of Odinism, all this stuff, right? But it's not just her. They're all playing games there in that jury box. You see? And this is, yeah, when you guys were on break, there were a couple of times where he'd be staring at people in the gallery. Right, because we're making him a monster. Right. Of course, woman. But obviously, yeah, it was creepy. Okay. So he was pointing at us at one point. I know he was doing stuff with other people that was actually pretty commonplace, but we couldn't see what you guys saw. So we were always really curious. Maybe like he's acting more normal to them. Absolutely. I want to go back to, you get selected, then what happens? Um, sure. They bring you in this little room and essentially like tell you just like the basics of anything you would like to know before we tip off. So a couple people were really upset once they were in the room and they found out they're going to be a juror and that we're getting sequestered. I guess they didn't realize what the goal set and things like that. So it was like hitting them in that room. Like, I'm going through a bathroom remodel and what am I going to do? And kind of like the reality of we're leaving our homes for a while. We got sworn in Tuesday morning. We came back with our bags. We had to walk through the courthouse. And then they went through all of our stuff. Make sure you don't have anything we're not supposed to. It was funny. I brought a Polaroid camera because I didn't see anything like that. So we couldn't have one. It didn't like, get on the internet or anything. So I figured it was okay. And Jason said, the bailiff. Okay, so you're on first name basis with the bailiff. Got it. Well, that's the first time I've ever brought one of those before. I'm glad I could be the first. But yeah, they definitely confiscated that. They gave it back to me the day we left. So anyways, yeah, they go through our stuff. And then we went and got sworn in. And this was all like at 9 a.m. We arrived and then we got on a tour bus thing. I don't know, coach, whatever. And then went to Delphi or Lafayette, I guess is where we stayed. You stayed in Lafayette. I mean, are you sure you don't know that you stayed in Lafayette? I know your hotel, don't you? Uh, 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 uh. I imagine you guys spend a lot of time with those bailiffs. Did you fuck them? Oh yeah. What were they like? The bailiffs were seriously so amazing. I mean, everyone was, and that's a point. Look, Joey, don't throw me out. Joey, just leave the channel. Okay, go away. Bailiffs were so seriously amazing. I mean, everyone was, and that's a point I really wanted to put is like, you think a random group of people from the county you're in, like completely random. That's how it's supposed to be. So you never know what you can get. And we had a really, really great group of people. And I don't think it would have went so well without all of them. Went so well. Hold on. What went well? What went well? Oh, I see. You're living in delusion land. I got it. So I think everyone in the trial was lucky to have, the great people we had, because I don't think it would have went as smoothly. But Jason, and then there's Jamal, and then we had Leslie, who was our third bailiff. So I think they have to have a female just for like all this girl stuff. I'm not really sure. And then Leslie, her kind of thing was that she did was she made sure we were all set every day. She brought us our lunch to the courthouse, and then she would bring us our dinner and did pretty much everything behind the scenes. She's amazing. And then, yeah, Jeremy and Jason, they drove the vans in the morning. We split up in vans, and they would drive us in the morning and home. And that's pretty much it. They would just keep us alive. And then something I thought was really interesting was Leslie had a system of we would order groceries. So we could make whatever we want, but we would always have dinner or whatnot. We could write these request forms so we could just fill out anything under the sun that we wanted. We would just write it down and then just submit the paper forms, and then it would show up later that day. Leslie would go shopping pretty much every single day for whatever we needed, and then we would get We would do the same for dinners. We would just in one, she would plan ahead where we're eating, and then we just had these binders that had all these different menus to restaurants because of course we don't have internet access. And she printed those off so we could pick what we wanted and we would write them down and then it would be there. Uh, 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 uh. Like, you don't think about how elaborate something like planning for dinner for all those 15 people, it's so elaborate. What kind of places would they get you guys food from? I'm assuming you guys would eat in the hotel. Oh my gosh, man. You can't make this shit up. All right. The way that it was planned at first, every other night we would go out to dinner and then eat in every other. And then quickly we changed because of it, how exhausted we were every single day and going out with all of the people, with all we had at least. If we were going somewhere, probably 5 cops with us. And then at the hotel, there was probably 10, 20 at all times. So it was a lot of places to go in public. Okay. So let's stop there and let's remember. So think about it. You've got 3 bailiffs and then 10 or 20 cops. So question, is she with a lot of people or is this jury surrounded by a lot of people or just a few? Kind of seems with a lot of people, there'd be a lot of opportunities for sharing of information, talking, doing things that probably shouldn't happen. Okay. Oh my gosh. So we decided we just want to eat at the hotel every night because that was just too much. Excuse me. And the places we would go for dinner, we did Longhorn. We think there's a place here called Hayes River, something like that. It's like a public house. I remember more of the lunches for some reason. The lunches were just McAllister's. There was a Stonehouse restaurant, Panera, all that stuff. So just pretty generic at Cheddar's. Yeah, I was wondering, during the trial, were you aware of the level of media attention this was receiving? Yes and no. No, that's a yes. That's a yes. That's a yes. They expressed that when we were sequestered at the beginning, just that there's a lot of coverage about it. Who is they? Who is they? Who is they? They expressed that when we were sequestered at the beginning, just that there's a lot of coverage. But one day, I guess to answer your question, they downplayed it a lot. I think they didn't want us to worry too much. But the security detail and all that, I'm just like, this just seems crazy. All right. We couldn't even go on the elevators to the bottom floor without, cops with us. We couldn't have anyone else in the elevator with us. We couldn't talk to anyone else. It was very serious. But on the way home from the courthouse one day, all of a sudden we started going really, really fast. Like I'm talking like 90 miles an hour. And we're just like, what the heck? We just didn't know what happened. Like they don't tell us anything, but you can just tell that there's like something stressful going on. And afterwards, they ended up telling us this was like, because it wasn't long before the end of the trial, but they told us at the end that it was some person. So, and Jason and Jeremy are bailiffs. They didn't have what you call it, like radios to talk back and forth. They didn't know why we were going so fast at the time. They just go, however fast the cop in front them goes, and they were speeding, so they're following them. Well, what happened was they saw someone next to us. They said they were there. One of the cops saw that someone was trying to take pictures into our van. So they pulled that person over and took her phone and took it to Judge Gull. So she's on the side of the highway. They keep her there, take her phone to Judge Gull. Judge Gull looks through it, finds that she goes to school at IU and had just been like traveling through Delphi and saw, our vans and all the cops, and was like, what is that? And then looked up and saw what it was and was just telling her friends. But she didn't have videos of us or anything. So they brought her phone back to her on the highway and let her go after that. So anytime it was like, like even somewhat stressful situation, they would just get us out of there really fast. So that kind of told me, it's kind of bigger than I think or know. And then once we're finished and I did my own research, I'm like, okay, like everyone knows about it. Like we're not just, not just Indiana people, no, the fucking world is watching, and the fucking world is dissecting every single word you say. And everyone else. In terms of your typical day, you guys were there lots of days. Obviously, can you walk us through almost like a day in the life of a jury during the case? Obviously, it was a little bit different on Saturdays because it was a half day, and then Sundays we all got off. But what was it like typically for you guys? Okay. Sure. So we would all meet. We have like this room that everyone could use at the hotel that we would have meetings in. That's where we met in the morning. So we had to be there at 8 a.m. And then we would drive to the courthouse and get there about usually like 8:30, walk up those treacherous marble stairs. And again, it would start, 9 o'clock or thereafter, depending on the housekeeping responsibilities. From there, we would just have our first session and then take a break. And then our breaks really were just all of us being able to use the bathroom. We only had 2 bathrooms to use. So eventually everyone had to go in between our breaks. So that's pretty much what we were doing. We weren't allowed to talk about anything unless everyone was present. So, in short breaks, we usually didn't talk about anything just because it was hard to get us all in the same room while everyone was using the restroom. So that would be the morning break. And then, of course, after that, and usually if we talked, we would do it then. And again, if everyone was present, there was like 2 little separate rooms in a divider. So people could go in either room if they wanted. If we were in the same room, sometimes we would talk. Sometimes we just kind of didn't feel like it. It was kind of like a lot of the time, and we're listening to it all day, and really there's not a whole lot to talk about specifically, and you kind of hear it all anyway. So I wouldn't even say we did a whole lot of talking about it until slowly at the end, maybe more a little closer to the end too. And then evening break, and again, as you know, sometimes we'd run over and not have those breaks, things like that. And then, and then we would leave at the end of the day, pretty much grab our stuff from the jury room, go back down the stairs. I don't know if you saw the kind of like tent thing they set up that we'd go into and out of the vans. And then they had the van right up, and they like the sliding door. And you mentioned the guys that wore the orange and black for Halloween, those officers, they kind of did the transportation of Richard Allen, I believe. They did that for us too. They would hold up the tent. And I think it was just so no one could get pictures of us or something. So that's how we kind of load up and get out too. Yeah. And then back to the hotel. Yeah. You see how when she's, and you guys pick up on this. You see how when there's no thought involved. Okay. So when she's just relaying logistics and the sequence and order of the day, she sounds pretty capable. She can clearly relate events of a day. Not a lot of ditziness, goofiness, and all this stuff. She can kind of like talk sensibly about things that don't matter, just the XYZ of the day, right? So that's telling you what you're dealing with here is that when it comes to the deficit here, It's in things that require contemplation. So just keep that in mind. And then we would have our evening. Were you guys, did you become a close knit group by the end of this? Absolutely, yeah. At least the way I feel. Again, I can't speak for anyone else. But yeah, I feel like going through something like that and then not having anyone, it kind of brings you close to people. And I was just, like I said, it was pretty hard on me. Towards the end, I was kind of a mess. So everyone really stepped up and made sure everyone else was okay. And we all took care of each other for sure. That's really nice. What were your impressions of the other people in the group? Very, very smart people. Okay. And like I said, they're also random, but not just one person. But not one person was like, I cannot deal with this person or I don't like this person, which I think would genuinely be pretty difficult. Not that I'm like that. Not that I don't like anyone, but I think it would be pretty difficult just finding a bunch of random people and not even one being a dud. Excuse me. But yeah, everyone was really great. And a lot of them have done jury duty before. Oh, really? That's a point to put in your notebooks. So they weren't completely going in blind, but even an experience like this, no one's done anything like that. No, that makes sense. It's definitely a different kind of trial than your typical one. You know, Sundays, I guess you guys do activities and sort of see your family a bit. Can you tell us about that? Um, yeah, that was really cool. And I mean, and you know how on Saturdays we would have half the day of court, and then the other half the day we would do an activity. So it was either bowling or movie theater. So we did bowling twice, maybe three times. We did bowling. Yeah, the final weekend too. We did bowling three times. And then we went to the movie theater once and saw Beetlejuice. And that was really good just to like get out. We were all talking like the bowling thing's funny because we felt it's all we did outside of court. So we're all going to do a bowling week. But then, so then it's that Saturday night. And then, yeah, Sundays from 1 to 5, our family members could come. And we would just essentially like hang out in the lobby. And again, there's like 10 or 20 police officers around, even more in the parking lot or just in cars, keeping us safe, but also making sure like everything goes that the way it's supposed to as well. We would like do a cookout. Or our hotel has like grills outside. So Jason would grill sometimes, or we would cater Subway or pizza or things like that. No, really, Jason. Jason would grill it up for you, girl. Would he? I wonder how much talking was done. Like, I really do wonder. I wonder how much talking was done. I really do. How much talking was done? Who told who what? Will we ever know? Wow. That's okay. That's okay. So I mean, yeah, I was always so like, what is our activity? So I think it's neat. I'm going to ask you about some of the different parties in the case and your impressions of what maybe sort of what got you got the sense of the group impressions of them were. And I guess starting off, what would be the one who probably kind of addressed you guys directly the most? And that's Judge Gal. Yeah. So get ready. Get ready, guys. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready, y'all. This is where this is where it gets ugly. I think that she is a very impressive. I need to remove this for this part. I think that she is a very impressive woman. I don't know. Ever since, I mean, in the way you look at it, Judge, at least to me, I was like, wow, she must really be like educated. And I love seeing women in a high role. So I always thought it was really cool from the beginning. And then from my experience from the trial, I once I heard the podcast, like I totally get where you guys are coming from like a media standpoint of wanting to, because I feel the same way. Like, I'm so glad that you guys were able to be there the amount of times you were to get the correct message of what actually happened in court through. So I totally get your side, but as a juror, I didn't, experience any of that. And I just thought and think that she's being just like a boss, like did a really good job. I think she commands a room. Yeah, I think that's the worship. Okay, that's the feminist worship of the female judge in power who's dominating this case, controlling it from the ground up. Yes, and I think we tried to stress on the show that while we were still certainly salty to a certain degree about the media stuff, I think she guided the case legally throughout a lot of minefields throughout the whole process, and I was impressed with that. And also, she was so nice. Like you could tell when she was addressing you guys, like she was so warm and kind of, oh my God, it was really nice. And like, I was just curious. You kind of noticed that too? Yeah, yeah. And after the trial, well, she always debriefed the jury. So we got to spend some time with her, and we're allowed to ask any questions we want to. And we just got to talk to her and actually spend normal time with her. Not that's not just, in court. And so that was really cool too. And what was she like during that? Very chill. She's very chill. Not at all like I was expecting. She's very chill and cool and relaxed and just go with the flow, and not at all like as you see her as a judge. Do you see? Do you see what I'm saying here about the worship of Fran Gull? The literal worship of Fran Gull? Pretty sickening, isn't it? All right, let's get back to it. It's the worship of Fran Gull. It's insanity. It's actual insanity, is what it is. All right, let's continue. It's going to get worse. Remember, like I always say on my shows, it only gets worse. It always only gets worse. All right, so here we go. And I'm curious, what were your impressions? of the attorneys from the prosecution. So I guess we can start off with McClelland. We talked a bit about him during voir dire, but during trial. I guess I was very, very impressed with McClelland. Yeah, yeah, you wanted to bone him. You wanted him. You wanted him. All right. I think he did a really, 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 really good job, and that's off uh, of someone that knows nothing about trials up to this point. So, but knowing nothing, I think and I guess that's what really matters because I was a jury. But I think he kind of touched on that. He has made me feel comfortable, very professional. And I think that was something that kind of lacked on the other side. Like, I felt that he was always kind of had a plan. Like, he was sexy. Like, I always thoroughly prepared, just like a high level of professional, hot, I don't know, that kind of thing that you'd expect from a badass lawyer. Right. And then I guess the next one would be Stacy Diener on the prosecution side. I really like Stacy Diener. Well, and something for me, I really like fashion. So it was really cool for me to look at everyone's outfits every day. And that's something that really cool about being in the courthouse for some reason. But she had the best outfits for sure. That was something I really liked about Stacy Diener. Why are we like the same person? Like, because I was always like seeing the same thing. I kept telling Kev, I'm like, she looks like the one of the women from Law and Order. She's like, oh, very well put together, and she didn't like wear the same outfit twice, not even once, which is pretty impressive. I agree. And I cut you off. So sorry, guys. What else were you going to say about Stacy Diener? Well, I didn't know any of this at the beginning. When I didn't know, like, they planned on who was going to cross and who, and like who's going to ask who the questions. Like, I didn't know. They already knew who was going to talk, and it's like strategy. But I realized that a little bit of it went like, oh, she's a great person to question this witness and examine the witness, whatever. And I feel she did a really good job on her role as being, she talked to a lot of the women that, were just like the witnesses and things. And I think she did a really good job too in her role. Absolutely. And then I'm going to go straight to like this. Let's do it right. James Luttrell. Him. I didn't warm up to him as much. And that's probably because he did a lot of the technical things too. It's not really his fault. Not that I think he didn't do a good job, but I think the prosecution as a whole, working together and all of their roles, I think they all did a good job. I want to go on to the defense. I guess Andrew Baldwin. I like them more than Rosie, for comparing. I think he was more approachable in a sense, or just not as like intimidating. Because I don't know if Rosie was trying to, but he just always seemed like intimidating. Like, even because we don't like talk to these people or anything, but just like, even like making eye contact, like try not to look him in the eye, but like Baldwin, we would make eye contact. I would smile. And I think I think he did a really good job. I would laugh sometimes with like his one question on each of the yellow pieces of paper, and we're flipping those over after we asked the question. That was funny sometimes, but he has a process and it was fun. Yeah, those seed chapters are seeds. Yeah, that's what he calls them. So you see how I'm saying it's all entertainment. It's all a game. It's all a game show. It's a movie. It's entertainment in her in her otherwise boring life. But let's continue. Brad Rosie, what do you think of him? And I don't know if he's like the lead person or if it's like they're both like, but it also most seem like ego thing too. I don't know, like, or maybe that he's just the kind of person he is. His ego just shows through. But I said, intimidating. I think it was from starting out on the like, let me dumb this down for you. Like, okay, so at least where we know where we stand. But yeah, and his questioning, it was like hard for me to even focus and know what's going on. Honestly, like I feel like it was just so much smoke and mirrors around like what even we're supposed to be talking about. And it was hard to keep track sometimes. You see? You see what I mean? Even from jury selection, she had already decided she could not stand Brad Rosie or she was intimidated by him. So why did she become a juror? That was certainly not an uncommon perception of Rosie's cross examinations. And then the last one on the defense is Jennifer Auger. I really liked Jennifer Auger. I don't know. I really liked her. Again, I don't know if it's because it's like a woman thing. You see, the thing is coming through. You see, the unhinged girl power trip this girl is on is coming through here. It's coming through. She really did a good job. I think, she stands on business. I think with both sides, things kind of got wonky at points. So I really, so I don't really, and same thing with Rosie, like if it was just once in a while, I wouldn't hold that against them. But it seemed like all the time it was confused and ego and intimidation. But with Jennifer, I just felt, I don't know, I kind of liked her. Like she has a little bit of attitude, and I feel that from what I would picture a defense attorney to be. I just liked it. Yeah, yeah. Of course you would. Of course you would. Were there any standout moments for you from any of the lawyers that kind of like really, either where they messed up or they did something really good that you were like, whoa, that stands out for me? I mean, as it should, I think McClellan's closing argument still kind of plays in my mind. Yeah, because he gaslit and emotionally manipulated you. And I think that's what it successfully could do because you should think about what he said as you're the last thing we're trying to make a decision. And so he said that, she always wanted to help police solve crimes. Things like that broke my heart. Yeah, it's called bullshit. And that they both, they had the phone that got the video. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have found her. So, yeah, that stuck with me. It's called fantasy world. That's not what really happened. Those girls did not solve their own crime. They were not sleuths out to catch a killer. They were victims. And you fell for it. And I think that's what we did. That's what he did best, was using, emotion. Yeah, he did. It's called emotionally manipulating you. Trying to think of anything else from the defense, from a perspective of a juror that doesn't, we don't know about like uh, the Odinist stuff, or I don't know. There were arguments of what can be shared and what not, like behind, like we don't know any of the behind scene things. And from that perspective, when you're hearing, well, what do you think about the tree, the F on the tree? And you're just wondering, like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, I'm so confused. Like, I think it's like some specific way it's on there. Like, you're just like, wait, and then so on, and then the constant arguments back and forth. I think it was pretty notable. I always thought, like, is this normal? Like, is there always this many recesses and sidebars? Like the noise machine. That was crazy. Oh, that freaking right noise machine. That plays in my head sometimes. I'm curious, in terms of you mentioned the sort of areas on both sides where the jurors were kind of like, I think this side dropped the ball a bit. Can you tell me a bit about that? No. A lot of defensive side things. Like when I said, McClellan did a good job of seeming like prepared and professional and just ready to go every morning and knew what he was going to do that day. Yeah, well, that's what it looks like when the judge is facilitating you and preferential to you, makes it easy for you. Like a lot of time, I don't feel that we got that with the defense. No, because they were roadblocked at every turn. It kind of seems scrambled, confused, not knowing what they're going to do next. And I mean, from my perspective, like I feel like they've had ample time to, what they're doing. And you just, I don't know, for me, I expected more, I guess, like a higher level of professionalism from them just throughout, really. Are you retarded? Like clearly you have to inform yourself on all that this judge did to block this defense. I mean, she even tried to have them arrested. You do realize that, right? And I think I'm mostly talking about Rosie when I say that. I say defensive, but I really like OJ, girl power. I really like Baldwin, old man, at least 75% of the time. So I'm trying to think. I know there's definitely got to be things from the prosecution too. Oh, and again, like these are all my personal experiences. And that was a lot about this. We couldn't really talk to each other about anything. So it was just hard to just like keep all this in and like experience it on your own. And we really can't tell anyone about it. That was really hard because I'm kind of like a gossip person. So I think the prosecution, when we asked the jury question of like, did you look and see how many cars were were of his car that year? And then next things we know, they looked up and I was like, I can't believe you wouldn't have thought to do that already. So that was like less of a wow moment and more of like, wait, what moment? Juror. Yeah, it really wasn't what they were hoping it to be. I don't think, right? And then I think there's something else kind of like the phone plug-in thing, and they're like, and people Googled it about the code that went from there being like a headphone jack, and he just looked it up and Googled it. I don't feel like any of that is wrong, but it's like, okay, I mean, it really doesn't change much, I guess, right? And I guess it's not a detriment to the prosecution. Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, I'm giving up on being nice. Okay, something is wrong. Something is wrong in that brain. Never mind. I'll skip it. This person actually thinks that the headphone jack being plugged in and unplugged doesn't really change much, and that the fact that that happened was not really a detriment to the prosecution because she's retarded. She's a gossip person. The Coco Kevin here. The prosecution's frequent issues with the large monitor screen also proved to be a source of consternation for the jury. They wanted to feel like their time was being used well, and those technological hiccups added it. That was probably number one of like, what are you guys doing? That was a concern to the jury when they're seeing all of this stuff go wrong, technologically wise. Yeah, I mean, especially, when it's causing things to just take longer because it's like, we're being away from our families or jobs for so long. Like, our time is very valuable. What about Richard Allen? In this juror mind, she's also had concerns about Richard Allen's second interview with police. The one he did with Lieutenant Jerry Holman. That was something that weighed on her mind. Juror. Because I've listened to the podcast, so that when I hear what you guys said, I'm like, okay, well, that's true. But I just feel like he was very thorough in the interview with realizing, like, that's how they're supposed to be. They're not supposed to, like, interrogations are supposed to be walk in the park. That makes total sense. And at the end, I'm sure we'll get into, like, deliberations and things. But that was one of the things that we rewatched as far as video evidence. We rewatched the interview. And so, we were able to have discussions about him, and it was kind of mixed. Like, I think a lot of people were like, well, that's how they're supposed to be. Like, that's how interrogations go. And for some reason, for me personally, the interview, I just thought, a guy that's never been in with the law before, and he didn't call for a lawyer, he clearly doesn't know what he's supposed to do, but he's not admitting to it. So I was like, the interviews to me just felt like he was just too calm and really didn't know anything to have done. But you voted guilty. Mm-hmm. And I was curious, what did you guys think? Speaking of videos, what did you guys make? Because we didn't see these. We were weirdly just like watching you all react to them and then trying to be like, everyone's like, wow, the jury's really mad at the defense. The jury's really mad at the prosecution. Everyone's just like making it up based on your momentary expressions. What did you guys make of the Westville videos? Yeah. It's funny. That's what everyone's like. Yeah, they're just looking at our faces. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't even think about that. I hope my face is on. But yeah, so the videos, I can't remember if it was because there was like a set of camcorder, like walking through the prison. And then there's incel. I don't remember like which we saw first. And you guys were able to see either of those, right? Weren't able to see either of those. Not any of them? Okay, so I'll try to recall the camcorder footage first. It was essentially, what do you think? Like, there's someone, there's guards around them. They're holding the camcorder and they're just taking him somewhere to go somewhere throughout the prison. And I guess kind of just reference, like going into it, they did give us like a slight warning, because you're watching the videos today and I'm going into, it wasn't as bad as I expected. So I guess, so to kind of tell you guys that for not being able to see it, I just expected from hearing about them for it just to be so bad. Like, because if they want to show all of these to us as bad as, like, it's got to be real bad. Personally, because I'm huge on, like, especially Westville is horrible. Horror, it's a horrible prison. And like, thank goodness they're building a new one, but it's the way it is there, just so bad. And I figured that's what, they're trying to portray in the video. But in these videos, it didn't seem that bad to me. Like, it just looks like a prison like you'd expect. And while they're walking around, I know one of the times he's like in what looked like a small wheelchair thing. It didn't have like big wheels. It's like a wheelchair, just like small ones on all four legs, but they were carrying it. They weren't even carrying it like four people. And I'm thinking they were going to get him to get that x-ray. He was getting an x-ray because he was beating his head on the wall. And he was that was probably one of the worst ones just because he looked so black and blue. Like his whole face and head was black and blue.
Right, so definitely disturbing to see.
Yeah, I thought it was not going to be that bad. And then there's, incel ones. He's nude most of the time. I think it was like they put on the paper like which ones he had clothes on and some ones he didn't, so that we were prepared. But I guess, but Max messed up a couple of times. So some are naked, but he wasn't. And then some was naked or whatever, vice versa.
Little Max is Max Baker, the recent college graduate who assisted Rosie in the trial. Sitting together for so long, the jury's built up some lore of their own throughout the trial. We asked her about other weird and quirky things that she and others noticed or heard about.
Oh, there's some McLeland lore. Jason told us because Jason's really funny. He's a jokester. So like you always have to like never take him serious. And I'm kind of gullible sometimes. So I would take him a little too serious. But McLeland and everyone else has been going to Fort Wayne for a long time just for all the pretrial stuff and all that. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but he used to have a mullet, like a full mullet. And this is really inappropriate. Jason says to him, like, why does your hair look like that? And it looks like you were at a tractor pull last weekend. And next time I was, and then next time Jason saw him, his hair looked like that, like it does now. And oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. So made him feel bad. He bullied him. Yeah, we drew a picture of Luttrell. We all thought it was Luttrell.
We did too, until like halfway through the show. Then we realized we were totally wrong because we got emails from all these people. I think even Fran might have thought it was Luttrell because I swear that's what she was saying.
No, she got it wrong too. So one of the jurors, she was like good at drawing. So she like did a little doodle of him, like doing that whole holding his hand thing that I was explaining earlier. And I just forget, like they wrote something at the bottom, but it was hilarious. And we put this what the weather was going to be, like the highs and lows, because we didn't know the weather and what to wear. So, and there's like a bulletin we'd always look at, and we put it on the bulletin. So we're just looking at it the whole time. There's I don't even know what they're talking about. Some games, some fucking games, right? Some stupid games she's talking about that the jury was playing. Some stupid ass games. Sorry, I'm getting upset.
It's like, I don't know. I just feel like we should all be in a group therapy together because I feel there's certain things about this experience that only people who are there would ever understand or find funny. Absolutely, yeah. And we definitely keep the humor going, and it's necessary sometimes to bad just think, I kept it going for I bet it did. Because it's just like you're saying, there's awful stuff. I'm curious, what witnesses stand out in your mind as being particularly powerful or memorable?
A big one. I don't know if it's necessarily like her testimony specifically, but just really working through her. And I mean, that was almost the nail in the coffin for me at the end. But her just seeing him and him seeing her, the long brown hair. So that one was very easy to remember, of course. And I'll be honest, like I said the whole time, I was really trying to play devil's advocate. And just to see it from the defense's perspective, I guess, so really, I did try to question everything. It felt like a really hard thing to do. And I just didn't want to get it wrong, no matter what.
That's what you have to do as a juror, and so you should be proud of yourself for doing that. Like, the worst outcome is convicting an innocent person.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
The worst outcome is convicting an innocent person.
Yeah. Interesting you would say that. And freaking morons. Morons. Absolutely morons. Okay. So pardon me. That gets us halfway through. Okay. Pardon me. Now I'm going to take a 2-minute break to go get something to drink because my throat's killing me with all the goofy voices. And we'll get back and we'll finish the second half. Okay. How about that? Yeah. Two kids were murdered, and she's highlighting the outfits and the girl power. Okay. Outfits and girl power and hard on for McClelland. This is what we're dealing with here. This is what we're dealing with. Someone's life is in your hands. But this is what we're dealing with. All right. Oh my God. Okay. So while I'm taking my little break, please hit the thumbs up and hit the support pathways. We got our support pathways. Please support the channel. I do appreciate it, as you know. Okay. So let me take my little break and we'll be back with the second half. Okay. 5 seconds. Give me 5 seconds. All right. Thank you, everyone. How many people left? Looks like 30, 40 people left. Well, you guys got to leave. I said 2 minutes. All right. I'm going to try to do better, go faster for the second half. I just realized that it took way too long. It took way too long. I mean, it wasn't that much information to take that long. It was all the getting pissed off with every single sentence. Every every single sentence was triggering. So, pardon me. Forgive me for taking long to get through that. It was tough. All right, you guys have some awesome comments. I'm apologizing that I'm not reading them yet. All right. Oh my gosh, you cannot make it up. Like this was a total shit show, as you know. Yeah. Murder Sheet was so proud of this. But I mean, hey, like I say, I'm not going to criticize too badly this person because I'm glad they stepped forward because you wanted a peek inside of what happened. This is our first peek inside of what happened, and as you can see, it was a shit show. It was bad. It was bad. And listen, I'd like you to know I did not add the word "like" even once in any of her statements. I'm literally reading verbatim. So because you heard "like" 400 times is because she said "like" 400 times. All right. All right. Okay, I will now try to be better. All right, y'all. So welcome to the chat. If you've been lurking, go ahead and join the chat. God bless you. And join the chat. Enjoy the channel. Hit the thumbs up and do all that stuff. All right. Now, we're going to move on to part 2. Okay. Moving on to part 2. I really like Harshman. Now, for all of you here, let's reiterate. Remember, Harshman was the one they used to put across the Rick Allen is bridge guy. Okay. He said, it's Rick Allen's voice when he had no clue whether it was Rick Allen's voice or not. And what else did he do? Oh, gosh. It's escaping me. But they used Harshman. What Harshman did was wrong. What the team did by using him to do what he did was wrong. It was wrong all the way around. And they know it. But watch how this game, see, this has all been a mind game. It's all been a mind game. And watch how this mind game played on this person here. Okay, and on this jury in general. I really like Harshman. I think professionalism goes a long way for me. And all these guys were not a lot of these people with no ISP and CSI, things like that. I think they were all very professional. So there wasn't anyone that I saw that I like discounted other than Sarah Carbaugh. I think kind of as a whole, we just decided to throw that one out. Ah, good. Good to know. Okay, now that's a gem. That's a gem to take away. As a whole, they decided to just go ahead and throw that Sarah Carball out. Why? Because she was unhinged. Okay, she was unhinged and immature. So at least the jury had a little common sense to throw that one out. All right. Not that she's an unlike a hard to believe person, but I think the defense did a good job trying to discount her. And I'm not saying that that's anything bad for her, because know I don't know what anyone would do in that situation. Like, I'm not a bad person or anything like that, but as far as when we were evaluating evidence, how you use that word, we really wanted to make sure we just believed it without any shadow of a doubt. So anything that anyone was really doubting, we would say, okay, well, if we didn't believe that, like, would that change the outcome? So kind of like, let's talk a little bit about Oberg. I think she was so professional and did an amazing job. She had so much information. She's so smart. And she believes in her clients. And that's what I try to explain to everyone at deliberations. Is like, I don't think she's intentionally lying. I just can't say that I believe for sure that the evidence is exact. I don't know. So when they brought in, oh heck, I forget his name, Dr. Warren, I know that, he evaluated it using just photos. You're definitely not supposed to do that. And I don't know if it was the defense cross on Oberg or Warren's testimony, but one of those, or maybe both, it really just had me skeptical on the bullet. So in making my decision, I didn't consider it at all. Okay, so think. Okay, please really think. I know I'm getting excited and I raise my voice. I apologize. I try to be anything other than myself, and every single time I fall back and just become myself. But to calmly say it, let me reiterate to you. Just think. What she is indicating to us is that the jury discounted Sarah Carball's testimony, right? Muddy Bloody, and the bullet. So think about that. The jury comes to a unanimous guilty verdict after allegedly discounting Sarah Carball, Muddy Bloody, and the bullet wholeheartedly altogether. What are the odds? Like, if this case was not flimsy enough already, what are the odds? What are the odds that they would discount Sarah Carball, Muddy Bloody, and the bullet altogether and still come to a unanimous guilty verdict? Like I said, it always only gets worse. And it's going to.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what the deliberation process was like and what sort of issues people were considering and weighing?
Yeah, okay. Something really cool. I'm sure you guys may even know this already. So what Judge Gull tells us, the inspections for the jury, that's really instructions for the jury. That's really all we get. So no one tells you how to do anything else. And they brought us in here to bail us. What? And they said, figure out who's your foreman. And then that's the only person that can communicate like what we need through the bailiff, essentially. So the foreman can only talk to the bailiff, and they don't tell you how to come up with a foreman. They're just like, figure it out. We can't tell you. Do it. So we're all like, wait. So this is really interesting. So we just have to kind of figure out a way to do it. I just figured there was like just a specific way you're supposed to come up with a verdict and come up with a foreman and all that good stuff. But I guess it's however you guys decide to do it. So what we did for our foreman was like a vote, essentially. People nominated who they thought, and then we just voted for who we wanted. And the foreman we had, he was the absolute best choice. And I personally didn't vote for him. So he did a really, really good job. And he had been on juries in the past. So I felt like a good decision it was. That jury himself is just very like professional, well-spoken person. So he did a really good job. What we did very first, which I think was so necessary, and I think got us to our decision and answered any questions we had throughout deliberations, was we made a timeline of everything we heard. And during that time, we kind of put everything on it at first. And that's where you fucked up, because this timeline does not work at all. And that's where the defense fucked up. Okay? The defense did not establish well enough that this timeline did not work. The jury did not understand that the Delphi murders timeline just does not work. Therefore, they wrongfully convicted a man based upon lack of evidence, which we call ignorance in the real world, and misconduct on the side of the prosecution and court. So first thing they do is they come up with a bullshit timeline that we know doesn't work. And that's the fantasy world timeline of the state in the Delphi murders case. So guess what? They took the bait. They swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. They were duped, bamboozled, fooled, tricked, fucked. And then if we kind of questioned the evidence, if we kind of questioned that evidence, we would kind of remove it. So like Sarah Karbaugh, for example, but we did it on the map, like the big map. And I don't know, I think in the podcast, you said the evidence was always in the courtroom. We had all of the physical evidence in our jury room with us. It was like in big containers. So anything of like the math or anything of the video evidence we had that wasn't like, oh shit, I messed up. So anything of like the math or anything that wasn't like video evidence, we had in there with us so we could go through and do whatever. So yeah, we had the big picture in the frame. So we sat there and put little sticky notes on what times and what happened. So we could be on a map, just like when they were passing and what time and when the phone quit moving and things like that, to just kind of put it all in order, essentially. And then we did it again just on paper. So, not like as much of a visual timeline, but more, I guess it's still a visual timeline, but just on a map. Every day we would do like a vote. The alternates had to be in the room, but they weren't allowed to say anything at all. And their notes were not allowed to be used. I thought the whole time, like, I commend the alternates. That would have been the total worst situation, to have to do all of that and then not even be a part of the end, like the grand finale. Yeah, because it's fantasy world entertainment game to you. You're still in a game show called The Trial Against Richard Allen. It was really hard mentally to even be a part of it. So maybe that's not bad, but to have to sit there and not even be able to voice my opinion, I don't know if I could have done it. Right, because you're immature. You're in this for you, not for Abby and Libby and Richard Allen. We did not vote that first day at all. We voted the next day. And that's when it was 9-3. We decided 9 guilty. The first day of deliberations, we again finished up the timeline. Then it was our foreman's idea to split up into groups. It was groups of 3, so we had 4 groups, and each group had something they were working on. Group went through the confessions on the sheets made by the suicide companion, so that wasn't my group. One group did all of the phone calls, then another group, which was mine, did the confessions to Dr. Walla and Dr. Martin, along with noting all of the meds that he was on when they started and when they were administered and things like that, and how they correspond with all the different confessions that we have. I'm sure a lot of people can argue too that that doesn't matter, but a lot of us were truly considering maybe it was an act of psychosis that caused these confessions. We were at least allowing it to be a possibility. Oh, boo-hoo for you. Oh, but you should we pat you on the back? Right. And as you know, because you've been through this, but you're dealing with, if there's 2 explanations, if you feel both are plausible and one is favorable to defend it, you have to go with that one. Yep, absolutely. This took a few hours, and then we took a break. For a break, yeah, this is another cool thing. We could take breaks kind of whenever we wanted. They said also, if we wanted, like we were just at stalemate, we wanted to leave early. It was very relaxed and made us comfortable. And whenever we wanted to take a break, our foreman would just notify the bailiff. Then we were allowed to walk around the rotunda. We could go into the courtroom and do whatever. We could just walk around, which was so cool for me because I got to sit in the prosecution chair and kind of see what was their view of everything. Yeah, that was so pretty cool. Again, this person has no life. This is entertainment. This is a cool, fun experience. Never mind, you're talking about the murder of 2 little kids, and you're talking about someone's life being on the line, accused of this.
What did you think of the courthouse itself? I was just curious. I always found it kind of beautiful. You guys are in Fort Wayne, so your courthouse kicks butt, but I'm just curious what you guys thought. I thought it was beautiful. Actually, after this whole experience, I decided I'm going to law school because I have a passion for law. A lot of it was just the courthouse, the way it made me feel being there.
Now, you see, I try to make this entertainment and fun for you, but do you realize how terrible and concerning this is? The way it made me feel being there after this game show called The Life of Richard Allen, I decided I'm going to law school because I have a passion for law. I know I said a lot about passion. I thought that was really cool, and just being there every day and seeing everyone, it was really just cool. Listen, this shit ain't cool, okay? The outfits that Stacy Diener is wearing, the way that McClellan combs his hair, the fact that Judge Gull is a boss bitch, it's not funny, it's not entertaining, it's not nifty. This is serious. You're in fantasy world. Richard Allen becomes a pawn in your fantasy world, in your game. I do think all courthouses are marvelous and everything is gorgeous. I know one of the jurors, she loved the lights in the courtroom so much, she had Jason take a picture of them so she could show her family. Cuckoo Kevin here. That's so cute. It's amazing that you can go to law school now. That's very exciting. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, good for you. Honestly. The deliberations actually took several days. Was that a frustrating process? I thought it was necessary. I feel like we were there for listening to everyone for 3 weeks. I felt a few days to consider everything that we heard is required almost. I know towards the end, there wasn't at any point a time where we're like, okay, we're soon all going to vote the same. There wasn't a point where it felt like that. We went through all the confessions, things like that. Let's start that over. And actually, let me remove this and read it to you. Listen to these words. Okay, listen to the words. I know towards the end, there wasn't at any point a time where we're like, okay, we're soon all going to vote the same. There wasn't a point where it felt like that. We went through all the confessions, things like that. So how do you end up then at a unanimous verdict when you're discounting the bullet, you're discounting Muddy and Bloody? Something don't add up. It just doesn't add up here. This was Friday. Sorry, we took that break. The rest of the day we spent discussing things and our opinions. That was the hard part, difficult part sometimes. Sometimes people just aren't the best at working with groups. So people talking over others, things like that. We went through that a little bit. A lot of Tuesday seemed to be just a lot of talking and consideration. Again, that was the day we took a vote at the end. It was 3 undecided, 9 guilty. So nothing changed. Okay, so by Tuesday, nothing had changed. So that day, we decided on Friday, they wanted us to let them know if we're going to need to see video evidence ahead of time because they need to get both counsels in there, the judge, all of that, and then however long it would take to get it up on the screen. So all things considered, they wanted us to give a day in advance. Well, then just said, well, let's figure out what we're wanting to see video-wise and go from there. We decided we wanted to watch both of the interviews again, mainly Holman, I think. No, they mainly wanted to see Mullen. I wish I could remember why. There was something specific in the interview they wanted to see again. Then we also watched the Bridge Guy video that was edited or remastered, whatever they did, so it stays upright and whatnot. That means a stabilized, enhanced. And then there was the one that it was just the audio of the Bridge Guy. You folks out there taking notes, take notes of that. Take notes of that, okay? Holman, Mullen, stabilized, enhanced Bridge Guy, and enhanced audio of Bridge Guy.
Yeah, cuckold heaven here, Kevin. You mentioned that you had some issues with the interrogation or interview video with Holman and Allen that played out during the deliberation process. Can you walk us through some of that?
So again, having no experience on seeing really interrogations or any experience with that kind of thing, I felt especially Holman, he just kept going on and on and on and going on. And even though he said, I'm done, which granted, why don't you just get out and walk out? But I was just putting myself in that position. And I was like, if I was being asked those questions and I didn't know how that got there, how am I going to explain that? How did it if I don't know? So I just felt like it was overdone in a sense. But I mean, it's just coming from me. Are you guys picking that up? Are you picking up on that? Even she who voted guilty after discounting the bullet, after discounting Sarah Carba, she even is acknowledging that Holman kept going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing and kept saying, I'm going to stop, and didn't stop, said I'm done, wasn't done. Why didn't he just walk out? And she even felt that even if that I didn't know how my bullet got there and I couldn't explain how my bullet got there, if I didn't know how am I going to explain it if I don't know? Even she acknowledges that. And she went and voted guilty.
What did you make of the confessions? You said that was one of the areas that you kind of took a lead on.
Yeah, of course, what stands out to everyone is the van. And that's part of the deliberations that, let me see. So Saturday, we pretty much like watched all of the video evidence, and that's all we had time for. We even stayed late because the videos were pretty long, it being a half day. So we didn't really have much of a discussion that day. But we did take a vote after we watched all the videos. And there was that day 8 guilty and 4 undecided. Okay, Saturday. That's Saturday.
So you went from 9 to 3 to that 8 to 4?
Yeah, so clearly, someone else felt that way about the videos, the interviews. Remember, it's Mullen, Holman. the benefit of that being Saturday, we had like a whole weekend to really think about it, like on our own, like just really. And that's what I did. I went straight home. I wrote pages upon pages in my journal. I narrowed it down to like, what do I know for facts and what do I believe? And then, well, there are those things enough to warrant reasonable doubt. And that's kind of what I pondered that whole weekend. Oh, did you? So I think that really benefited us from having that. And then going back Monday. So to go back to the confession, one of my things that I had that stood out to me in a sense of thinking that he could be guilty is the mention of the van. Outside of that, I really didn't put weight to anything else, although it's very eerie. So do you hear that? And listen, juror, if you're watching this and you're listening to this, so the van is what did it? Okay. Are you aware that that van was known about from February 14th, 2017, the day these girls were found? Yeah. You know how I know that? I can prove it to you. This is what you do, young lady. You go to the helicopter footage on February 14th, and you go to, I don't know, maybe it's approximately the 12-minute mark. If you pay attention, you're going to notice something. The helicopter is going to fly over Weber's property. The helicopter is going to capture Weber's white van in Weber's driveway. People out here have known about the white van from day one. Monica Walla, you should know, was an obsessed Delphi murders fanatic true crime fan girl. I guarantee you she knew about the white van. You know how I know? Because Gray Hughes knew about the white van before trial and mentioned that it was going to come up in the confessions. Now, do I have to rephrase that? Gray Hughes knew about the white van coming up in the confessions to Walla before trial. Baldwin says there's at least 20, 25 mentions on the white van with a quick Google search. But you allow that gaslight, that lie, that misrepresentation by the prosecution to convince you to put a guy away for life. Even though you're disregarding the bullet, you're disregarding Sarah Carba. Looking back, I think like, who would confess that many times that doesn't actually do that? I can't think how that would ever happen. But again, it's really hard when you're asked to. It's not just something, there's no big deal if you get it. It's not just something that's no big deal if you get it wrong. Yeah, well, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. Guess what? Because you didn't get to hear about the Odinist guards threatening to kill him, his wife, and his daughter while he's in prison. Do you know that his family was threatened with murder if he didn't confess? Yeah, that was withheld from you as well.
There's a lot of weight to it. Yeah, I'm really struck with the thoughtfulness that you put into this, and what you're saying makes so much sense. Yes, we can all sit here now and say it's an awful lot of times to confess, but even if there's a slight issue with that, you need to set it aside and focus on things that matter more, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you think? You think so? Something I have written here, there was at least one person, I don't know if there were more, but posing the question of, well, if it wasn't Richard Allen, then who could it have possibly been? There wasn't anyone else wearing these clothes. There wasn't anyone else that seemed substantive. And where I was at, it just seems like a wrong question to ask because that's not what this is about. We're not seeing if it could be anyone else. Is there enough evidence showing that it's him specifically? Not is there evidence showing that it could have been someone else? So I really tried to just focus on the mission. At some point, someone alluded to that we don't need to make a decision out of sympathy for people that are undecided to feel bad. And it really got to me that day. Oh, so that's what that's what was going on between this vacant space in the jury's heads that where brains should exist. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting you mentioned. So are you saying that some of the jurors said, you got to pin it on someone and he's the only one that's there? Really? Oh, they must have never heard of Daniel Pearson. No, that's right. They didn't because the judge didn't let it in. The defense didn't even ask to put it in, and the prosecution didn't put it in. So no one addressed Daniel Pearson, who was there that day, dressed in a similar way, looking exactly identical 10 out of 10 to that young guy's sketch. Hold on. All right, sorry. Had to yell at the dog and get some chocolate. All right. Yeah, so Daniel Pearson. Who was probably Bridge Guy. Okay. We'll move on. All right, so I know one of them was Rayleigh Voorhees. Richard Allen. Rayleigh Voorhees. Richard Allen said he was there. He said what he was wearing. And it was the exact same clothes as Bridge Guy. So once you get to that, there's really no disputing that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy. And this is where you prove you're retarded. That's what I think we got to first. Like, does anyone disagree that Richard Allen is bridge guy? No one did. So you really can't. So if he's bridge guy, how do we know if he was the kidnapper and murderer? Which, after realizing he's bridge guy, was pretty easy to add all of those things together. But really, just things that he reported himself is really what got me the closest to guilty. Yeah. Well, guess what? You're totally like mentally damaged. Like, there's something wrong there. There's something wrong. Like, do you realize his clothes were tested? No blood stains. Blue Carhartt jacket. Yeah, no blood stains. No DNA of the victims. No, the victims did have DNA, though. They did, under the fingernails, and on the private parts. Oh, yeah. They had male DNA. Wasn't Richard Allen's. Oh, yeah. And also, there was Kelsey's DNA. Yes, there was. There was a strand of Kelsey's hair or two wrapped around poor Abby's dead fingers, pulled out from the root. The sort of thing you'd get moving a body. Nothing of Richard Allen's. Now, here's another question for you. What would lead you to believe that Bridge Guy had anything to do with the murders of those two girls? What evidence were you presented that convinced you that Bridge Guy had anything to do with the murders of those two little girls?
It sounded like the timeline was perhaps more important than any of this sort of flashier confessions, maybe with the exception of the van.
Coco Kevin here, absolutely. And you said you didn't even take the bullet into consideration because of your doubts about the science.
I'm curious, like you mentioned, kind of people getting a little bit on each other's nerves. Like, did it get heated? How do people come back from that?
It was a lot more relaxed than I thought it would be. I thought there would be a lot more turmoil than there was. There really just one time where not everyone was getting a chance to talk, like when you have a big old group of people, there's certain people that talk most of the time. And we're running into that. And it's like, we need everyone to have a discussion, So after that, that was pretty much it. And there wasn't really any hard feelings. I mean, we all realized that we're totally random people, we're not friends, and we're stuck in this hotel together like for so long. And we're around each other all the time. The only people we see, like, of course, there's going to be a little bit of something, feelings. But outside of that, it's a total different relationship because it would be so hard on top of someone that you don't really know and constantly be around them and have discussions with them in general. So, even if it was, your spouse, so we realize, we're around each other a lot. We're probably going to have feelings, but now that we're not in that situation, our feelings for each other are a lot different.
That makes so much sense. You're able to like separate that. Yeah, it's like the heat of the moment. Exactly. We're pretty cordial, like really most of the time. What was the feeling like in the room when you realized, wait, we're anonymous now? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I have to say a lot about that. That Monday was the best deliberation discussion day that we had. We, again, like I said, we had the weekend. So at least for me, at the points that, like I said, I know for a fact that I believe evidence wise. And we essentially, the people that were undecided, our foreman told us to make a list of what we do know and what we do believe. So we did that. We wrote down those different points and then we had a discussion. And we did the opposite too of like what don't we believe? And like I said before, does that affect that there's still a possibility that written down as guilty? Or, do we need to have a discussion about it to see, where it really stands? So, the bullet and those kind of things. But yeah, we just had an open discussion. The people that thought he was guilty had a discussion with the people that thought undecided. No, you know what that's called? Okay, now we're getting to the truth of the matter. What that's called is trying to bully them or force them into agreeing with you, which is what happened because we know we went from those 4 went down to 0, right? So you were able to have a discussion with those 4 until they agreed to your terms. And then we decided to take a vote. After I heard the first few guilty, I knew once the last one was read, our foreman couldn't believe it. He was like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, that's called everyone submitted. That's what it's called. Everyone submitted. That's what it's called. Unanimous? And I'm like crying at this point because I already knew like it was going to be done. And it was such an overwhelming feeling just of like, 1, that it's over, 2, it's decided and it's pretty sad, but the outcome like sucks either way.
Like it was really, 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 really hard for me. But even after the jury did its job and came back to a decision, there was still a bit of delay before the verdict was actually delivered.
They said Kathy Allen was out of town, I guess, and like when it's supposed to be. So it took a while for everyone to get there. We waited in that jury room for so long in anticipation of reading the verdict. It was just so crazy. They made it to where like it was a really big deal of us like getting out of the courthouse and into the van just because they figured the media would go crazy. They literally had us like after we read the verdict, like get up real fast and run, like seriously run out of the courthouse, like down the stairs out. And then we get stopped by a train, like right there.
It was hilarious. Leslie Kendrick can't escape Delphi. That happened to us the day we were trying to get out to record really quickly so we could do something else. So yeah, we can relate. Wow, that's incredible. You mentioned the overwhelming emotion of it. Can you talk us through a little bit more about that? Like, was anyone scared to almost hand down a punishment? Because, like, it would mean sending him to prison potentially for life. Were people considering that? Or were people like, how was that feeling?
Yeah, I think I considered that a lot to the point where it was really hard for me. I felt like it was maybe like almost an ounce of like denial or just not wanting it to be the outcome that it is and has to be. What the fuck? Did you just hear that? Has to be. Why does that have to be the outcome? You do realize that You did not have any presentation of the Delphi murders whatsoever in front of you, right? As a juror. Half of the Delphi murders case was withheld from you as a juror. How do you feel about that? Do you feel the same now, knowing that? I kept telling myself, like, it's not going to last. Like, it's going to be really bad. And it made me sad. It's just hard for just like little me to, come up with a decision like that. I would say out of everyone, I definitely had the worst time. But everyone afterwards really thanked me. And not just me, but the undecided people that were, because they caused us to really dissect everything and just make sure. So they said, we're really glad that we did that and that we can feel, most comfortable in our decision and like lay our head down that night and feel like we made the right choice. For what it's worth, and this is just kind of me talking, I think you guys made the right choice. But it makes me feel good that you made a choice that was so informed and so based on the facts and not just like gut, oh, this guy seems weird. You know what I mean? Like that's the fear whenever you're dealing with a case like this. You want someone to be convicted for the right reasons. Yeah, you would say that. You would, I mean, you are murder shits after all. You would say that. Right. And you're right. I mean, we definitely we're glad we did that. And we were scared too. Like we knew we weren't hearing everything, like, because it was pretty obvious in court that there were things that weren't being told to us for whatever reasons. So we're like, are we going to find like all this stuff out that was hidden from us and then change our minds? You bet your sweet ass you will. You bet your sweet ass you will. And you're all finding it out now. And you'll continue to find it out. And the public will continue to find it out. But it's too late now, isn't it? You fucked up. Or, just the what if. So a lot of people are like, I'm not even going to look at the news and the media. I'm not going to torture myself. But I personally can't help myself. So I've been doing a little too much Reddit. Probably unhealthy, but yeah, I still do. And I think we made the right decision. I really do. Really. Yeah, what Reddit are you watching? Are you watching the fucking troll farm Reddit? That's probably what you're watching, because we know the PR team has had people out here for 7 years controlling the Delphi murders narrative. And we know that right now, Reddit is infested with troll farm. Yes, we do know that. Cuckoo Kevin here. What do you think about some of the things not being included in the trial? Do you think it would have been helpful to have some of that information, or do you think the judge made the right decision? To answer that question fully, I would like to know, I know there were other suspects, I guess, but my thought is that they know more than we do, like things that are possible and could be, a potential suspect and not. And if it was found to not have a nexus or whatever it is, then I trust their judgment, honestly, which means you're retarded. You're a retard. Right. Right. Um, um, we were just in the gallery, but we didn't have the added pressure of having to make a decision here.
And on top of that, though, we like saw what you saw in terms of a lot of really horrible images that were presented in trial. And we just wanted to ask, like, how did that affect you? How did that affect your fellow jurors? And how are you doing okay now?
Yeah, a good question. I surprisingly, and I'm like a really emotional person, so I'm honestly concerned going into it about myself, but I've been okay. I don't think I'll ever forget like what I saw. I guess there's some kind of feeling that we did what we was supposed to happen. I think we were all put there for a reason. Oh, the truth is just seeping out of you, young lady. Seeping out of you. You were put there for a reason, and you were manipulated for a reason, and you were denied evidence for a reason, right? And you were gaslit for a reason, and you were traumatized emotionally for a reason, and you were lied to for a reason. Yeah. Like all the people that were there, like I've said from the beginning, and I don't know how it's affecting, and I really haven't talked to anyone else, kind of got home and hermited myself for a while, just kind of like, I don't know, like it was holidays and things like that. But I just to kind of figure out how I feel, did I make a really good friend? I mean, I did make a really good friend, and we've spent time through the process together. And we haven't even had that conversation. I text her, on sentencing, like, hope you're doing well, but it's not really talking about, how we're doing. They offered us anyone that wants counseling or anything, they're offering it. Judge Gull gave us her information, and we're supposed to call her if we ever need anything.
You're kind of emerging back into society after this, and you're seeing all the media coverage, and you're mentioning kind of going on the social media sites to see, what your thoughts on how it's been covered. Do you feel it's been accurate, inaccurate? What are the misconceptions?
A lot of inaccuracies, and you guys have even talked about some of them. Oh, I love Murder Sheet. They're the greatest. Coco Kevin here. The jurors sampled some of the YouTube trial coverage and found it to have been quite inaccurate. The prof is full of shit. Joe Lewis is garbage. She was too classy to call out individual creators. People are saying like Judge Gold telling people things that like actually didn't happen, or I saw things like the jurors like they're doing this and that, which was so inaccurate. I don't know. It's the general. I haven't like listened to your guys' podcast like from start to finish, and that's about all. I like read some articles, which they're more the stuff I see like article wise and like on social media, like outside of like videos and podcasts and things. They're more just like attention grabbing. So they're dramatized, I guess, like not necessarily incorrect, but they just make it sound like way more like intense than it really was. Things like that. Well, thank you for listening to our episodes. Those are a lot of hours. A lot of rambling. Oh yeah. It took me a while. Oh, the murder shit's rambling. Oh, the truth just seeps on out, doesn't it? Woo. Okay. And I think you guys did a really, 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 really good job of making sure it was quote unquote accurate. And I think that's important because you ask, what have I seen that's inaccurate? A lot of it's really like the comments that people are saying on things like that. It's really hard to not like comment back like you weren't even there, like how could you even have like this much of an opinion? Like you've only heard what other people said happened. So it's really just the people in society that just think they know everything that happened without even being there for them. Yeah. Do you think you know everything that happened? Have you done 1,000 hours of live streams on this Delphi murders? Do you have 25,000, 30,000 screenshots from the community? No, you don't know shit about the Delphi murders. Hopefully you're learning, though. You're starting to.
Absolutely, and thank you. That means a lot that you what you said about our coverage, because we're not perfect, but we really tried to get it right, because it's important, and it's important that people, this really happened, and it's a sad situation and deserves accuracy and respect. Was there anything we didn't ask you about that you wanted to mention, or you think it's important for people to know?
I feel like, honestly, I've covered a lot of my experience, and it's been nice to talk about it because, I haven't talked about it. And I think that starts the healing process. And, we didn't go through it as like humans and all of that. Like our family members didn't die and we aren't going to prison, but it was still a lot, like, I think will forever be changed for it. And like I said, the group we had was amazing. Everyone was amazing. Our bailiffs were more than amazing. Did you fuck Jason? Seriously, like we didn't ever did everything we ever needed. And like I said, the group we had was amazing. Yeah. And it was really built around making sure we were comfortable. I think everyone realized, we were going through a difficult situation and the bailiffs had to leave their families too and didn't go home and that. And so, yeah, I think everyone did it right, especially Jason. And I'm glad that we can go home and go back to life and feel like that we did the right thing.
Well, I just want to commend you for the thoughtfulness that you and your fellow jurors put into this process. And it's obvious from talking with you how much you care and took with the decision. So we just want to commend you and thank you for your service in this. We got what we wanted out of you. Thank you very much, bitch. I knew that was really, 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 really rough for all of you. But I think, we really tip our hats to you for what you guys gave up and, coming together and trying to make an intelligent and deformed decision. I just thank you. Thank you for the guilty verdict. Guilty. Thank you for the guilty. Murder Sheet loves the guilty verdict. We thank you for the guilty. We all fucking thank you. Thanks for the guilty. We got the troll form, got the guilty. Doug Carter got the guilty. McClellan got the guilty. Gall got the guilty. Murder Shit's got the guilty. Troll form wins. Guilty. Thank you. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, absolutely. And something funny too, we all believed that we could be off the jury's pull list forever, indefinitely, but only for 2 years. So you might see us again. No, that's not fair. Yeah, well said. Well, this is crazy. And she said, well, like she gave us her card and stuff. So good. If you get pegged, just call me and I'll get it taken care of, because I'm glad. Good, because I believe you guys should never have to do this again.
You really should not, unless you're going to give a guilty verdict on an innocent man again. Thanks very much to this juror for taking the time to talk to Murder Shits. We appreciate you and the care she took and the fellow jurors took with their deliberation. Commend them for their service. We got the guilty out of you. Thank you very much.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how ridiculous that was. And like I said, you wondered how you got the verdict that you got? I think now it should be more than obvious. Unfortunately. Jeez. It's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Apparently, this person has never heard of one single key term in the court system. It's called reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is a legal standard in criminal cases that requires the prosecution to prove a defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the highest standard of proof in the U.S. legal system. Reasonable doubt is a doubt that a reasonable person would have after considering all the evidence in a case. It's a doubt based on reason and common sense, not mere speculation. But as you can see from this juror, she didn't have either. Reasonable doubt protects defendants from being convicted based on factual error. It's a way to reduce the risk of an innocent person being found guilty. The prosecution has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This means they must present evidence that's so convincing that there's no reasonable doubt in the jurors' minds. Civil cases use lower standards of proof, such as a preponderance of evidence. Reasonable doubt exists when you are not firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt after you have weighed and considered all the evidence. Defendant must not be convicted on suspicion or speculation. It's not enough for the state to show that the defendant is probably guilty. Oh, shush. Reasonable doubt is the legal... Sorry about that. Hold on. Reasonable doubt is the legal terminology referring to insufficient evidence that prevents a jury from convicting a defendant of a crime. It's the traditional standard of proof that must be exceeded to secure a guilty verdict in a court of law. In a criminal case, it is the job of the prosecution to convince the jury that the defendant is guilty of the crime with which he has been charged and therefore should be convicted. The phrase beyond a reasonable doubt means that the evidence presented and the arguments put forth by the prosecution establish the defendant's guilt so clearly that they must be accepted as fact by any rational person. If the jury cannot say with certainty, based on the evidence presented, that the defendant is guilty, then there is reasonable doubt, and they are obligated to return a non-guilty verdict. Isn't that odd? Isn't that just odd? Reasonable doubt is insufficient evidence that prevents a judge and jury from convicting a defendant of a crime. If it cannot be proved without a doubt that a defendant in a criminal case is guilty, the person should not be convicted. Each juror must walk into a courtroom presuming the accused is innocent, and it is the job of the prosecutor to convince them otherwise. Reasonable doubt is used exclusively in criminal cases because of the consequences of a conviction. Other commonly used standards of proof are probable cause, reasonable belief, reasonable suspicion, and credible evidence. Under U.S. law, a defendant is considered innocent until proven guilty. Reasonable doubt stems from insufficient evidence. If it cannot be proved without a doubt that the defendant is guilty, the person should not be convicted. Verdicts do not necessarily reflect the truth. They reflect the evidence presented. A defendant's actual innocence or guilt may be an abstraction. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest standard of proof used in the court of law and is widely accepted around the world. It is used exclusively in criminal cases because of the consequences of a conviction. The concept of reasonable doubt is not explicitly stated in the U.S. Constitution. However, one of the basic principles of the U.S. legal system is that it is worse to convict an innocent person than to let a guilty person go free. The person charged is considered innocent until proven guilty. As such, the burden of proof falls upon the prosecution to prove its case beyond this reasonable doubt. It isn't unusual for a juror to believe that the defendant is a criminal, but not be convicted with certainty that they committed a particular crime they are charged with. Reasonable doubt comes from certainty rather than belief. And you see, that's where we had a problem here. That's where we had a problem. Belief and instinct are important in many instances in life, but can't be used to convict a defendant. The reasonable doubt standard forces jurors to ignore doubts considered unreasonable when determining if a defendant is guilty. Unreasonable doubt, which often stems from the possibility that a non-existent or unpresented type of evidence might explain a defendant's actions and lead to exoneration, is not enough to acquit the defendant. Evidence favorable to the defendant in a criminal trial can also create reasonable doubt as to whether the accused committed the crime. And this is the key part here. The defendant's team should not be viewed with more skepticism than the prosecutor's team. Each shred of evidence should be given the same consideration. This is why it's important that exculpatory evidence be considered in the weighing of reasonable doubt. This is important as any reasonable doubt, however small, that the defendant did not do it is grounds for an acquittal. The criminal justice system seeks to unearth the truth, to convict the guilty, let the innocent walk free. In the order for this to work, each juror must walk into the courtroom presuming the accused is innocent. Benjamin Franklin said, "It is better that 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer." Well, question for you. Richard Allen suffered for 2 years as a pretrial detainee, being factually innocent. The presumption of innocence requires that jurors have a skeptical mindset that must be overcome before they can reach a guilty verdict. The jurors must not just want to believe something or be swayed by prejudices. They must not easily believe what the prosecution is presenting. Their obligation is to view each shred of evidence presented by the prosecution with skepticism. The reasonable doubt standard aims to reduce the chances of an innocent person being convicted. Criminal cases can result in severe consequences, including death or life sentences. So a person should only be charged if the jurors are 100% confident based on evidence presented of their guilt. Reasonable doubt exists de facto unless and until the prosecution can prove beyond that reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty. The three burdens of proof for criminal cases are beyond a reasonable doubt, probable cause, and reasonable suspicion. A doubt can be considered reasonable when it is connected to evidence or an absence of evidence. Sympathies or prejudices are not reasonable grounds for doubt. Reasonable doubt is an important legal standard that strives to prevent innocent people from getting convicted for a crime they didn't commit. If it cannot be proved without a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty, then they should not be convicted of the crime as charged. So, what happened here? Well, it's easy. You see, this judge had a stranglehold over this case, an absolute iron grip, a stranglehold. If you ask me, it wasn't just Abby and Libby who were denied justice because of this stranglehold. It was Richard Allen. You see, there was no defense allowed of Richard Allen. So in this Abby and Libby don't get justice. The family doesn't get justice. And Richard Allen doesn't get justice. Unfortunately, it appears that it occurs that there's injustice all the way around. So we asked for the jurors to step forward and shed some light on the situation, and she has. This juror is a reflection of the state of Indiana. It's a reflection of the type of person who would come back with a guilty verdict against Richard Allen. A poor reflection. Giving us insight into the fact that the bullet was likely disregarded, as it should have been, by the jurors. Sarah Carbaugh And her testimony was likely disregarded by the jurors, as it should have been. Unfortunately, they seem to be duped by the white van, which we know was the accomplishment of one Monica Walla, true crime fangirl, who should have never been treating Richard Allen. Remember, what are the obligations for conflict of interest? Oddly enough, doesn't Nick McClellan have a conflict of interest at its base level, being a relative of the victim's family? Well, if not Nick McClellan, didn't Monica Walla exhibit a conflict of interest by being totally engrossed and obsessed with the Delphi murders case when assigned to treat Richard Allen? And while treating Richard Allen, while extracting confessions during his psychotic episode out of Richard Allen? As I mentioned last night in my show, which was called Delphi Debunking Cicero, which I highly recommend you all go watch, it was essential that state actors be placed strategically at all the nexus points or in all the roles as if it was a chess game in order to accomplish this task. And it was successfully orchestrated. From Brian Harshman, Monica Walla, Pat Cicero, etc., etc., etc. All the pieces were in their places to achieve checkmate on Richard Allen, even good old Jason, Judge Gull, Nick McClellan, Tobe Lesenby, Tony Liggett, Mullen, every single one of them. It's absolutely crucial that everyone be in place. So maybe you will learn how a criminal enterprise operates. It won't work unless everyone's properly positioned to play out their role. And hopefully our feds understand that and have been watching this and address it. Because we truly do believe if this is ever addressed, we will see the majority of people involved in this conspiracy go down. A huge undertaking. We believe the community would be shocked. I believe we will see family members, law enforcement officers, and state actors all caught up in the web. Now, question, will it ever happen? What? Oh, you're going to do something about it someday? Okay, thank you, feds. Hopefully, one day I won't be pretending, and that will be a true statement, a truth, a reality. It's what's necessary. So, please support the channel. Hit the thumbs up, hit the Cash App, buy me a coffee, like, share, subscribe. You know the deal with YouTube's.
Support the channel. As I said, I didn't really want to do this. I didn't want to do this show. Hopefully, though, those of you who wanted it were happy with what you got. It's a rough one. It's a rough one. Honestly, it's exactly what I expected. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to know what happened with this jury, but you know, with a juror like this, what do you expect? Really? I mean, you guys remember Finding Nemo? With fronds like these, who needs an enemies? So, our juror was a major disappointment. But like I said, we're going to be nice to her. And listen, we don't blame you. You were duped. The judge made sure you were duped. The prosecutor made sure you were duped. And I guess your own upbringing made you gullible. So maybe you'll level up and come to a place where you realize you don't like being duped and that wasn't a right thing to do to you. And maybe you'll come talk to us. We'd love to talk to you. And that goes for any juror. We think you were all duped. Just imagine what you don't know. Remember, there are the known unknowns and there are the unknown unknowns. So you don't know what you don't know. But we might. So, God bless you all. Thanks so much for being here on a Wednesday, a big old Wednesday evening hump day. Hopefully, some of you get some humping. I know I haven't. It's pretty quiet over here around the prof's house. But I don't know. Maybe our juror did. She seemed pretty fond of the bailiffs. So who knows? But I'd like you all to just have a wonderful rest of the week. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow or Friday. Who knows? I plan on doing another one soon. I have a plan, probably be tomorrow, but we don't know yet. But man, it's been rough, and the troll farm has been back at it. I don't know about you. Troll farm has been back at it. Okay, back at the harassment. The harassment is ramping back up. The death threats are ramping back up. I don't know what's wrong, but the troll farm is getting reactivated. So go ahead, do what you do, troll farm. Look, calling the police. Keep with those false reports. Okay, keep it up. Appreciate that. All right. So anyway, God bless you all. I'm done. Could her apathy towards Rick's experience in prison be affected because she was so love bombed by Jason, the bailiff? And don't forget McClellan, who she was in love with. She couldn't even entertain he was abused and tortured in prison. No, like I said, this woman seems to have not ever left the house, to be easily swayed by futile entertainment or whatever, fickle. Just she doesn't care. She's entertained. This was all an experience for her, and she got titillated by McClellan and Jason and whoever else. And so
I don't know, maybe she had sex and maybe she got all the entertainment she needed for a while and got fed well. And maybe she'll have some sort of consciousness hit her, and she'll feel bad about this whole debacle and talk about it, because we do want to hear more. There's no reason that Murder Sheet needs to be the only one to talk to jurors. Come on, I mean, can we be real here? We need a balanced perspective. And if you don't like us, well, go talk to Andy Baldwin himself. I mean, he's a good guy. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, let me continue to get through this chat so I can make sure I see everyone who was here. I sure do love you guys, and thank you. Appreciate you for being here. I know it was a long one. It was rough. I didn't want to do this. Haunted Parlor, what's up? I would love to see some videos. Yeah. I've got some photos and some videos, but I'd love some videos from the hotel. Okay. Sounds like they were wined and dined, right? Sounds like they were wined and dined, and who knows what? I don't know who knows what kind of sexual activity was going on in that hotel room, or that hotel. I mean, were some of the bailiffs? I mean, if we had 3 bailiffs, we had 10 to 20 cops. I mean, was there some hanky panky that we don't know about? I mean, I don't know. We got barbecue, bourbon, and beer. I mean, what was going on in that hotel in Lafayette? We know how it is in Lafayette. You know, we know that was some meth brought in, some coke. Was it party time? You know, excellent. We know how it is in Lafayette, Indiana. So what really happened? Maybe some more jurors will come and talk to us. We're not mean. We're just upset. Like I said, we weren't going to be mean to her today. This was simply an immature, ignorant girl. That was me 40 years ago. I would have followed the prosecutor's lead. If you were there, you were guilty. That's what I believe. That's what I was taught. Yeah. And like, McClellan, she was attracted. She was sexually attracted to McClellan. All right. So it's rough. Okay, so I'll stop being mean now. But here's what I do have to say. Back to the seriousness. I observed the jury instructions. I read them, right? Those jury instructions were extremely clear about what the standard was. And that's why I'm mystified. I'm dumbfounded. I'm astonished that those jurors did not adhere to the instructions that they were given, which was beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. And it's astonishing. Just imagine if they had been allowed to be shown the exculpatory or third-party evidence that the defense had, that there was a nexus for, but the judge obscured or obstructed, this would have been an entirely different situation. And that's why it was so important to have control of that judge and have that judge be in the position she was in to make it the way that it was. So it's disgusting. It's really disgusting. I'm upset. I mean, it's upsetting. This entire thing has been upsetting. So, like I said, it never gets better. It always gets worse. And with every single show, it gets worse as the show progresses. And that's where we are. So let me see if I can get anywhere near our current chat. Let's see. Yeah, Walla should not have a job at all ever again in medical care. Do you understand that? Like that's called abusing a patient. Okay, that's patient abuse. Like if you work in a nursing home and you're mean to the old folks, you get fired. You never work again for old folks, right? So why is this quote unquote doctor allowed to continue to practice? Monica Walla should never practice medicine again. Period. What's up, Jake Brooks? Thank you very much for the $9.99 super chat. Great show, Prof. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. It feels horrible. It's a gut punch. This show is a gut punch. But
It's Indiana. What do you expect? Hey, what's up, Jake Brooks? Gull, at least at one point, was at the same hotel with the jury and YouTubers. Hey, yeah. You know what I read? That there was a YouTuber who was in the same hotel on the same floor with Gull, and then Gull had to be moved. I did read that, Jake Brooks. So who was that YouTuber? Who was that YouTuber? Remember when I told you quite a while ago before trial that the troll farm was planning on renting hotel rooms in the hotel that the jury was staying at? Did that ever come to fruition? Was that ever explored? Who knows what really happened with that? Whatever happened with that? Thank you. Found your channel yesterday, sub today. I've never made it through that without the mocking voiceover. Well, thank you. And I'm sorry to be so annoying. Like I say, I try to not be annoying, but every time I have to do what I have to do for myself to get through it. So I'm glad you can tolerate me. Thank you. Jalen, thanks for becoming a member. What's up, Chevy Killer? What's up, Chevy Killer? What's up, Heather Brown? All right. Appreciate you all here. Let's see. Young and dumb. No, it is true, JT. It is true. It is true. I want to know who it was. I want to know who was the YouTuber that was in the same hotel, same floor as Judge Gull, such that Judge Gull had to be moved to another hotel or another floor or whatever. All right. It's true. I read it. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, my throat's shot, so I got to hurry up and get off of here. Marion Foster, what up, girl? What up, Catherine? What's up, everybody? All right. You guys are awesome. She's about that eggplant. Yeah, sure is. Yeah, that was another thing. So Westville ain't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Psycho, man. She's a psycho. And remember, she was thanked profusely for that guilty verdict. Remember what she go back through that and read it. She was thanked for that guilty verdict. So were the others who flipped. Remember, she led on to that. She led on to that. Those who flipped and her were all thanked for doing their job, which was flipping the guilty. So, boom. Nick supplied the Coke. 100% yes to the hanky panky. Hey, probably. Air jail gets the ladies going. A little dippity doo goes a long way. Yeah, and like she said, half that jury, you know what got him? Those 8 out of the 4 or 8 out of 10 or shit. Fuck. 8 out of 12. He's the only one that was wearing that shit, so it had to be him, and we have to convict somebody, so we're going to convict him. If it's not him, who else would it be? I don't know why my dog is tripping tonight. He's tripping. Yeah, they were convinced they were going to convict somebody, and Rick Allen was the guy that was on the hot seat, so he got convicted. And that's what it is, bro. That's what it is. This is so much worse. But bottom line, final statement. This is so much worse than you can imagine. I promise. However bad you think it is, it's worse than you think it is. And history will prove that to be true. It's terrible. And I mean in every way you've ever thought about, every way ever imagined, this is so much worse than you think it could be. And that will be proven to be true. All right. So I'll see all you guys later. I'm almost caught up with the chat. I'm a minute away.
What's up, Deanna Burdett? You guys coming in? All right. Yeah, this is going to be her book. Like a Cool Murder Trial. It was like the best month ever. All right, so I'll see all you guys later. God bless. Thank you. Please hit that like. Please subscribe. If you're on the replay, be sure to leave comments down below. Comments down below is the only way you get to participate in the conversation if you're on the replays. Please do that. But hey, you could also hit that Cash App real easy, real nice, real fast. So please support the channel. Please hit the thumbs up. Leave comments below. If you're already done with this damn stream, watch something else, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow or Friday, but hopefully tomorrow. That's the goal. And it'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise as to what it is. So God bless you all. I'm going to spend time with my son, eat a huge, amazing, wonderful dinner that I have prepared. And until next time, all right? God bless. See you again.
Thank you.